pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, we'll start off with the roll call of members.
Ed Luttrell.
Here.
Frank Myers.
Here.
Jamie Bowman.
Here.
George Weiner.
Here.
Ron Bruns.
Here.
Vicki Ketting. Frank Roth.
Here.
Alderwoman Shauna Zerwig.
Here.
Chairman, we have a quorum.
Great. We'll move on to next, the approval of the agenda for tonight's meeting, November 19th, 2012.
I move to approve it.
Okay, motion to approve the agenda. Is there a second?
Second.
We have a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? All right, the agenda passes. Move on to the approval of minutes from the October 15th, 2012 meeting. Any questions or discussion of the minutes?
I approve it.
All right, the motion approved. Is there a second?
Second.
Second. All right, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, minutes are approved. Moving on to old business, we're to have a presentation of the award to the winner of the Landmarks Commission logo contest, but I guess they're not here tonight. Is that correct?
I dropped the ball and didn't realize that I was supposed to have it done today.
Well, that's okay. We can do that in the next meeting then.
Okay, so I need to invite her.
Yeah. Okay, so let's move on to new business. First action item is for renovations to the exterior of the building located at 305 Merchant Street, known as the Rozier Building, and 309 Merchant Street. So would the applicant like to come up and tell us about the project?
We've got 3 presentation boards for you. Where's the most convenient place to set those up?
Brenda,
Set it up
Over here so the guy can get the camera.
right over this way. There's no cool way to open these up. Just open the air. Yeah, right. Say the next word.
Wow. Voila.
Take those
Yeah. No cussing involved.
If you think that's neat, wait till you see the drawings.
For those of you who don't know me, my name is Cindy Loida. I'm representing the steering committee for the capital campaign that St. Genevieve Parish and Valley Schools has undertaken. We are incredibly excited. We have been working for at least 5 years on a plan to purchase the Rozier, and we've now purchased the building, and we've hired architects, and we have Pete Schwartz, who's principal at Vessel Architecture, and Todd Dunsey. You guys might know Jim Dunsey, his dad, is local here, and he graduated from Valley. But we've hired them to take on the project for us. Again, we are so excited to be able to take the spaces and use them both for the school purposes, as you'll see described, as for the parish as a whole. And we think it's going to make an incredible impact on the downtown and improve the look and feel of our whole city block, as well as our campus at Valley. So without further ado, I'll let these gentlemen who are professionals take over and make the presentation. Thank you for having us.
Thank you. Thanks, Cindy. Would you prefer we sit, or can we stand and
Whatever you prefer.
stand and pace nervously? If the microphone doesn't need us, we'd probably just rather walk and talk.
Sure.
Thanks again for hearing us this evening.
Oh, actually, she said she will need the microphone.
Okay, sure. All right. Now, it's like Congress. Thanks for having us this evening. As Cindy mentioned, my name is Peter Schwartz. I'm one of the principal architects of Vessel Architecture and Design. We're based in St. Louis. We've been around for 8 years, so we're not the newest guys on the block, but we are not the oldest and wisest either. So we're thrilled to be here tonight, and this is actually not our first project in St. Genevieve. A few years ago, we completed the animal hospital, and Todd got us connected with that one. He's been a member of our staff before the recession and since, and we're thrilled to have him back. He's an incredibly talented guy, as many of you know. And so he's going to tell you a little bit about the plans and walk you through the inside of the building in just a minute, because he, far better than I, could help you connect what's going on in that building with the community, and will help you understand what an incredible opportunity that the church is capturing here with this building. We also are intending this evening to introduce the project to you. We would love for you to say, my goodness, this is the renovation we've been waiting for decades. How soon can you get it built? But I'm going to guess that you'll have far more questions than that. If we can leave with consensus, we'd love to, but we'd very much like to introduce the project to you, answer any questions, and I wouldn't pretend to have all the answers tonight, so we'll also be very glad to have your input. The project is in its early capital campaign stages, so we don't have construction documents, we don't have contractors, we don't even have engineers yet taking a look at the building. We're waiting for the capital campaign to be a wild success, which we expect and already have indication that we can expect. And then as we move into the end of this year and the beginning of next year, we'll begin to develop this design. And so your input tonight is very important to us, and we want to tell you about what we are planning now. So you're looking at conceptual drawings. 3D modeling technology can make things look very finished, but this in fact is not. But I'm sure that you are all familiar with the building. I don't need to tell you about it or remind you of its pretty desperate need for a facelift. But really, it's a pretty grand building. We think it's beautiful as it is. It's got, maybe right now it's got a face only an architect could love, but we see the opportunity to make this a real shining gem in that open plaza and not have to do anything particularly radical with it. So our early initial concepts are to give the thing a facelift, if you will. We're going to take off the cedar shake shingle canopies that you have seen on the building and are probably familiar with now. We're going to take advantage of the existing masonry structure and open up what is now covered and enclosed with a lot of white plaster. We think there are huge opportunities to bring a lot of daylight into this building. We think those opportunities may have been there before, maybe not. We couldn't find too many historical pictures of the building. And so we are simply renovating what we're finding there. So we think the geometry of the building and of the masonry lends itself to some arched windows on the lower level and simply opening up rectangles that exist in the building now. We've walked through the inside and found the structure to support the lintels above the second-story windows, and we'll do the same on this level. So right now, this wall is entirely enclosed in masonry. When Todd walks you through the plan, you'll see what fantastic classroom and meeting spaces that's going to be for the kids and the students and the public once we get daylight into those rooms. The building, as you probably know, is built in several pieces. The Rozier building itself is the pride of the development. The lower addition, just to its, I guess to its west, right, is a single-story building without any particular charm of its own. When Todd tells you about the plan and the plans for elementary school and preschool education going on right behind those colored windows, we hope you'll get as excited as we are about what that space is going to mean for the kids of the parish and the kids of the community. So I'll let Todd tell you a little bit more about that. We wouldn't even begin to argue that that's the most conservative historical design opportunity we could take, but we see a fantastic opportunity in restoring the grandeur of the Rozier building to create a really wonderful space for kids next door in a place where ceilings just aren't quite as high and daylight's a little bit harder to come from. We also think it's a great way to bring some color and some excitement onto that part of the block and give visual privacy for the kids inside. We don't want to create a place where people have too much visual access to kids, the world being what it is. And so if you look at the rendering on the lower right-hand corner, you'll see an inside view of what we think could be one of the most wonderful play spaces and gathering spaces for kids in the whole community. And I know I'm talking really fast and trying to cover a lot of ground. We want to leave lots of time for questions. So I'll ask Todd to walk you through the plans and just help you connect what's going to go on in this building with the community a little bit better.
Okay. Well, one of the, just starting out, I'm going to want to point here. So, starting out, in the, the main space of the Rozier building on the first floor, we really want to open up, a community space, a parish space that will house a, a large multi-purpose room that can be used, for probably, bingo and, the prom and, things like, wedding receptions, other things, with a big kitchen, large restrooms on the main floor with an elevator access, for the upstairs. And then, moving, to the preschool area, Pete talked about, the colored glass. We really see an opportunity to, bring a lot of, interesting light in and have a big open play area, indoor play area for the kids that can be used, not only for school time, but, if there's an after-church gathering, there's a big, breakfast or, things like that. I know the Lions Club always has their breakfast, in the cafeteria. Well, those kind of things can be held, in this multi-purpose room and have access to the play area, for the kids. And then moving back, they plan to move the preschool and kindergarten, into this building and have, those two spaces kind of come together as one, transitioning the kids from preschool, into kindergarten and kind of creating a, whole, early childhood, area. And then moving back, we're going to plan on moving the weight room from the Bovary building that's in the basement of the Bovary building. Pretty, not a very safe space right now. It's, underground, but we want, to bring all that space, really expand their area and bring the weight room over, as well as, on the corner where the old grocery store was, all the St. Vincent de Paul stuff will move in on the first floor, give lots of access for all the needy people, wheelchair access where they don't have that now, lots of display area just to display all their furniture and clothing that a lot of now is in storage because they just don't have the area to display all of that stuff. So, and then moving up to the second floor, we want to create a theater space and a band room. The theater space will house around 150 to 175 people. They really want to would love to use this for all school gatherings. The parish would use this for any of their ministries, teaching ministries, Bible study, those kind of things. And then in the front, I really see, this second story, lot of light open, to the plaza below as great meeting spaces and even small parties, gatherings of, whether it's, a 50th wedding anniversary or, certain things like that, is really a great view of downtown, overlooking, the open space there and, looking onto the courthouse and all of that. So we really see, everything kind of working together, the parish and the school, coming together to really benefit, a whole lot from this project.
One of the things we really love about it is the way it's going to serve so many generations side by side in the building. Todd, you may have mentioned, or maybe not, that the clients of St. Vincent de Paul and the kids in the preschool typically don't cross paths, and so we've strategically separated them so that entry into this piece of the building only happens on this side. It's got its own parking, it's got its own delivery, and then there's additional parking back here as well. The kids will typically come in this side either through the courtyard between here and the school, or possibly even in the front. More than likely it'll be one of these two. But at the same time, everyone in the community can use the multi-purpose room. And again, this is the room that you're looking at through all of these windows. We're excited about thinking of this at night when it's lit up and there's life in there and life on the plaza, and those windows are just glowing where they wouldn't now. So we think that's a great thing. We've got a big central kitchen to serve the whole area, and we really think it's a place that the community can use. Oh, and then we should also mention a new elevator to make the building fully accessible on both levels. Anything else you want to add? All right, what can we answer for you all?
It looks like you got a set of stairs here on the far left.
Yeah, we sure do.
Where would that go?
Yeah, that's an exit stair out of the second level.
Oh, so you'd come across the roof?
Yeah, we sure would. There's just not a lot of exiting up there right now. We're squeezing every square inch we can, yes, sir, exactly. So we are able to do that, drop it right down the street.
So you're gonna leave that space between the desert and Rosa Building open?
That's the plan.
Well, it'll be open partly, but I think the gate will, or the fence would come all the way to the building.
Then
And
they
you
would go through the desert?
But yeah, you just have to go through the desert to get out, but that would, we really talked about opening up that whole fence line, and really, making it very transparent between the desert, and the Rozier building. There'd be probably three entrances off, the desert side of the building to move kids back and forth.
So is there another exit off of the upstairs, like by the theater?
Yeah, there's a set of stairs. There's a stairwell in the back corner. And then really there's the existing set of steps where, I don't know, 50 years ago when that was the furniture store upstairs, and you would come in the front door and there's a big set of steps. That set of steps will still be there, but because of code issues and it's an open stair, you can't use that as a fire escape. So, that it's just more of a grand stair to move people upstairs. So there'll really be three, ways out of the upstairs. But
And restrooms to accommodate all these people?
yeah, we're putting in.
Because isn't there just like one? I mean,
Yeah, right now there's just small
Yeah.
restrooms. And actually, we
Right.
pretty much vacate everything that's there, and
and the
we're having-
preschool has their own bathroom?
Yeah, each preschool, or the preschool rooms, the two preschool rooms has a bathroom in between, and then the kindergarten rooms have a bathroom in between. The weight room has, a men's and women's restroom and changing room, and then the St. Vincent de Paul also has their own restroom. So,
Well, I think the design of the inside seems awesome and perfect for what you need, but I guess I have some issues, like with what we have to cover on the outside of the building, because the inside doesn't really
Yeah, it doesn't.
concern us, I was just interested.
Spectacular.
But
Thank you.
some of it, I think it's beautiful, but some of it doesn't.
Isn't this what it used to look similar to before they closed in the windows on the upstairs of the?
we don't really know what, we haven't found any, historic
I thought there
pictures
was
of
a
what it
picture
looks
that
like, but.
showed where it had big windows.
I think you did a great job of making it look similar. I think what I'm concerned with is the difference between like the Art Deco versus the old, and that's okay with me. But the awning doesn't seem to fit the building or the town or the pictures. But otherwise, I think the windows are beautiful and all the light coming in.
The awning over the central
Mhm.
bay?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
It just.
Is it, help us understand what your concern is. Is it
Well,
just
they
its
just-
existence? Is it the wrong form?
It's not historic, or
Okay.
it doesn't fit historic. Well, like if you look at them, most of them are canvas
Mhm.
or, something else that comes out, and I envision that as like a metal
Mhm.
and.
And what we try to stay away from are things that, deteriorate quickly.
Right.
One of the, we would, I'm sure everyone would love to see, wonderful architectural wood windows, in this building, but, for the parish, that's just not, a feasible opportunity, because, having to refinish those windows every, 3 to 5 years is just, a lot of maintenance that, they can't afford. So, we see, metal clad windows that, will last 50 years with no maintenance. And that was, kind of the thinking behind the canopy, is that it's something that, you don't have to do anything to, where a fabric, awning may only last, 10 years, and then it's gonna be falling apart.
But I will say, the schematic phase of a project is always one where you're trying to put ideas together quickly, and in the end, before we actually get to constructing the project, we probably look at least a handful of other canopy options, and that's, one of the reasons we want to hear from you. We think that's a pretty nice, clean clean thing, but there are plenty of other.
Well, when I directly look at it, it's beautiful, but when I think of historic and when the building was built,
Mhm. Yeah,
it just doesn't go.
yeah, fair enough.
You know, if you look at the sandbar that it's gonna be next to,
Uh-huh.
I call it gingerbread, but the brickwork and the woodwork around it, you know, you've got a perfect opportunity with that one piece there just to keep it. And what would you know, I'm not an architect or anything, but we look like we're about 30 years difference from, in age, you know, like without this, that look, but then when we go with this, it look, you know, you might have a name for this type and a name for this, but it just, this, I don't know if it's that, you know, exclude the color, it just looks like this is 40 years before,
Yeah.
you know, we got a timeline.
Right.
But I
Yeah,
do
there,
think
I
that's
don't-
when the buildings were built.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and that's the other thing, you know, so-
Right, yeah, right, I'm just asking you, I see a timeline, and it probably was, but now that you have the opportunity to remodel it, you could, you know.
The problem though is that, yes, they're different, different style, and personally, I think you've done a marvelous
Oh,
job of undoing
Thank
a
you.
lot of mistakes
Thank you.
that were made on the front of the building. This is good.
Thank you.
I don't like those colors. That's glaring in the historic district. I
The-
mean, it just
the
doesn't
colors.
fit in with the church or anything else.
Fits in with the stained glass to the church.
I feel like it does, and I feel like it's historic
Well-
to that time period,
And
the 60s,
I think it-
you know.
That
No,
was
in
a,
the
yeah, that was our
time
intent.
period, you wouldn't find a front like that. I think you can go through your books
Yeah, yeah.
and you'll have trouble finding it. That is a problem to me, just as to how it integrates into the rest of the community, the colors.
Okay.
I recognize it's not much to start with. I mean,
Yeah, so then if I understand you right, you're comfortable with the change of style from side to side, and even comfortable with the modernist color, window
Yeah.
arrangement, but the colors are just too bold.
I think so.
Too
I think
striking.
for the historic district, I think it ought to be reviewed and think about it.
What would you put there? I mean, would you just put frosted glass that would be bland
Well-
and have no
You could just
characteristic
use-
to a preschool?
You could just use colors that were in the church windows.
Well, yeah, we
But I
could
think you
do,
would be surprised at how bright those are.
we could do.
Well, I think it's just
yeah.
a picture. I don't think it's gonna be like,
No, I think the
Well, that
picture is a lot more saturated than,
That
you know,
is-
it may
yeah,
be.
that is
and
part
of it.
It's gonna appear.
You know, we could put this model on the computer monitor, and it might be a lot more washed out. In the end, the input from you that saturation is important is something we'd have to take into consideration when we actually pick those colors. You could do a fairly monochromatic arrangement of layers of shading and have it be really nice. I don't think I would want to just frost it, but I wouldn't necessarily set that up and then set, you know, a foot in front of it, some kind of screen. I think there's a lot of opportunity to tweak that, so I get what you're saying.
I'm
And
afraid
the
too, that
one-
if that's not backlighted from interior, you're not gonna see that much color anyway. It's just
Well,
like looking at the outside of a stained glass window, and it's just nothing there.
yeah, if you were to backlight that at night, I think it would be pretty spectacular
If
without
you-
light.
if you did.
If you did, right,
Right.
right. Now, when the sun goes down and it's dark outside, it really doesn't take that much light to backlight that sort of thing, but that's a level of design detail we would still have to work through.
But in daylight, I don't think you
It's gonna glare like we're seeing now,
Yeah.
that's what you're saying, yeah, I kind
And the one other thing that I'm probably one person in opposition, that mural on the side. I understand what you're saying about the light, and it does look good. In fact, my son, who was an architect, argued with me that it's better this way than with the mural. From a historic standpoint, though, I hate to lose that thing.
Well, we wondered what
How
you
old
think
is it?
about
We
that.
did it, we worked like
The
mad
mural's
in
30 years.
1985 to get Fishbone in and do that.
Okay.
And he's a well-recognized artist throughout the country. It's a very important piece of work, and I just very much hate to lose it. I understand why, from an architect standpoint, to get that light into the building, why you would consider it, but
Yeah.
is he gonna come
from a
back and touch
historic
it up?
standpoint,
or-
I
That's
think it's a
exactly
mistake.
what I'm thinking.
Yeah, it's in pretty rough shape right now.
Right.
That's, you
Yeah,
know, the other-
they always take a little bit of maintenance.
I agree with Frank, though. I mean, from an art teacher point of view, I get the Art Deco. I think it's beautiful. And I think showing the different times of the building that's attached as one is a great creation. But that mural is almost 30 years old, and it's historic in itself. I mean, and it was from the time period of Ronald Reagan, to put it in perspective for people, you know. I don't know, all things take care. I mean, just like the building needs care, so would a mural. And I think it's significant, when I was looking at it, I realized all the people that are associated with Valley, with the church, that are in the mural or helped to purchase the mural. I mean, I think it's historic to the building and to what the building will be. That's the only thing that kind of bothered me. And then I was trying to think of how it could be amended. Like maybe we could save those parts that are important to the town and put windows upstairs and not downstairs or something like that, so we could still keep. I mean, didn't the Rosiers, the Rosier family?
You have the backing of the Rosier family on this building, don't you?
Oh, I'm sure.
Yeah. I think.
But I mean, they also,
Yeah, but you have to think owner rights. I mean, where do you draw the line between historic and owner's rights? When somebody has a right to change and modify the building to what their needs are? I mean, wasn't that part of the change?
That is not an issue with this commission. The commission is for the historic preservation. There are other people that have other jobs. It may sound strange, but I've been in town 30 years, and I've been on one commission or another 30 years that I've been here. And the opinion on a particular project changes with what you are told your function is to perform. And this one is the Landmarks Commission.
How many members do you have in your parish? Is in your parish?
1,100 families.
1,100 families, so maybe about 3,000 members with children and family?
Yeah.
And how many kids do you have in the preschool? 40 kids?
How
A lot of people.
How do you all as a commission resolve those kind of conflicts? We've got the historical context and beauty of the building itself we're trying to preserve. We've got a much younger but significant context of the painting. Have you resolved a conflict like that before?
But,
Doesn't it come to the Board of Aldermen if it
yeah, I
can't
mean,
be resolved?
on the mural, and again, I
That's
wasn't here when they
where the
painted
final
it, but
decision was made,
it doesn't look very good to me, all right? Most people who come to town that I've walked around the town with are not hugely into that worn-out old mural. So, I mean, it may be a great work of art in some people's eyes, but I'm not sure the town would share that philosophy. I mean, again, I wasn't here, but it doesn't awe me. I sure wouldn't want to change a building just to save that mural. I think we'd have a tough time
You don't want to kill the life of the building.
finding people who would do that.
Something that we decided on, you know. And we all agree that it's time for that building to get this.
Yeah, no, well, one of the things that, you know, and that mural's been there, you know, it's older than me. So, you know, every time,
1985.
You know,
it went
right.
with-
every time, you know, that's all I've known is that mural on the wall. And at first, we can't get rid of the mural. But to me, that whole facade of that building being closed off really stops, you know, you from going around the corner. You know, nothing draws you down that,
It's like a dead
down
end
3rd
alley.
Street, yeah, because, you know, it's just so lifeless as you proceed past the corner. And, you know, I think, you know, opening that up will help, you know, bring the town around the corner, you know, and, you know, bring some life, you know, down 3rd Street there.
If I were an architect, I think I'd do exactly what you've done.
Well, yeah.
But considering from a historic aspect, I put a lot of value to that. There was a lot of work went into getting it, to getting that artist to accept the commission here. And it's just one of those things. But I think you've done a marvelous job in cleaning up that building.
Thank you.
Because every conceivable new idea was tried on the front of that thing over the years.
It sure looks like it.
It's time to get back to the basics.
Yeah.
Spectacular.
I'd love to say we were uniquely talented in the pantheon of architects, but the building had good bones. We really are just cleaning it up.
Right.
Maybe the arched windows are a new thing, but found some precedent for that, but it's a proud building.
Where did you find precedent? In town?
The master plan HOK did 50 years ago.
Huh.
Had some street facades, and they had doodled some arched windows into this building.
There's
Quick comment about the mural.
Yeah.
Picture.
My reading says that the National Endowment for the Arts and the Missouri Arts Council were involved in sponsorship of this, so I think they need to be consulted.
Yep. There,
Just
that
to
is
let
one
them know
thing
what
that
was going on.
you're gonna have to check
How-
out to see whether there
Yeah.
are any,
How is it funded? Is it privately funded?
Does anybody know that?
You know, I don't know, but.
So you have to wait till the ink flows off of it to.
It might be in the article I gave you.
Well, I think this is,
You just gave
it is a marijuana.
No, it's.
But you know,
attached
one of the
with your
things,
application.
one of the things that the band teacher asked for was daylight. He said, I'd give anything for daylight in my rooms, and we were able to accommodate that with the location of the room and turning those windows on the side. His room would get the second bank there.
What are you guys gonna do with the parking lot behind it? Student
That
parking?
came from the master plan.
You know, I'm not sure that they've
The back
assigned
parking lot?
strategic use for it. Do you?
We would, yeah, think that most of the parking, you know, we haven't, we were on such a time crunch to get, you know, the inside of the building done and, you know, some pictures like this. We haven't, you know, really thought outside of, you know, the master plan of the block, but I would see that, you know, a lot of it would be dedicated towards student parking and picking up, you know, some of those kids out of the street.
where'd that come from?
And you guys, do you guys intend to use a lot of local contractors?
Yeah, I mean, definitely, that's,
Try to keep it a lot of-
yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, we really don't control the contracting too much. That's entirely the owner's purview. And we advise and consent, but we like to see things
That
kept
was
locally.
disaster.
So I guess one of our jobs is to find out who makes the decision about the marijuana.
Yeah.
Then we'll take that in,
Who's gonna decide
and then when we meet
about the
again, we'll let you
zero?
know how that's gonna be a judgment call, a vote, or whatever. Wow.
In your capital plan, I presume it's going to be phased structure. What kind of the hierarchy of events? Does it start with the facade and then,
Our
or it
expectation.
starts with the roof probably?
Well, the response to the campaign and the imagery so far has been more than we expected. Our expectation and hope is to do the entire thing. all at
When do you
once.
expect to start?
Tomorrow?
Tomorrow?
Tomorrow, right.
Wow, so it's been.
I'd love to
it's
say
been
next
funded
spring.
and It's been,
The campaign will begin really in earnest at the beginning of the year. Maybe somebody back here could answer that better than I can.
I think right now we're in the midst of the campaign. Campaign will probably take from now until maybe next year, next summer. So we need to have, before we can work with our archdiocese, because I work with you guys, I work with our archdiocese. And we have to have probably half the money on deposit or committed to before we start undertaking the project. So I would expect this spring, we will start, at least start taking bids in this guy. But I don't really see execute construction probably as early as the summer.
the interior is really not our responsibility, the facade.
Right.
And it seems like the only problem that we gotta really look into is the mirror. And the windows, I guess when it gets down to more specs of what you're gonna use, type, is it
Maybe
stained
bring in like
window?
a sample.
And then we'll just
Oh, yeah.
okay the square, the front, and maybe, because I'm like Jan said, that there, it's like popping, but if it's during the day, the light, is it gonna be that, whoa, what is that, you know, stoplights, or, you know, that's the
Right.
first thing I thought when I seen it.
Sure.
So the Marials, and I don't like the cover over the front door, just because, you know, we're gonna lose the Marial, which we're losing, you know, the Indians and them old, you know, maybe we could get something just a little bit on the wall, maybe a plaque for the Marial, you know, we can get a plaque saying, or something, you know,
Yeah.
a little more, you know.
Right now, I'm taking from the drawings that you're going to put in, I think, it looks like limestone lintel?
Oh, in between?
Yeah.
You know, I'm
Over
not-
the windows.
Up top?
Oh, up top. I think we've got, what we're imagining is probably some sort of stucco or between the windows, or maybe a cast stone. If we could get cast stone in the budget, yeah, you bet, we'd love to do that.
I'm talking about the lintels.
Up above, on the top?
Yeah,
There are already steel
They're there.
lintels up there.
yeah, that's what I'm seeing in the photograph, is I-beams and ornate.
Yeah, and I mean, I think what Pete's saying is that if we can afford to put stone, a piece of stone up there, we would love to, but budgetary would probably keep us, do some kind of a stucco that, just kind of looks.
Oh, I see. I see. You're looking at the steel,
Yeah.
exposed steel.
Decorative.
Yeah, I think we'd want to make that go away unless we could clean it up. It just doesn't seem real critical to the historical context of the building. I suppose it is because it was put there at the beginning of the building's history.
I don't
But
know
it's
about
kinda
that,
funny.
because if you go east of Third Street, you see several facades like that. I mean, they're all over
There's
town.
probably 5 or 6 on Merchant Street
Yeah,
that I can think of
Right.
with the metal I-beams,
Myers
the
and
decorative.
Audis and the hotel. Just curious.
How do we proceed to get you what you guys want? You want basically a general gut reaction to the overall project, is that the?
Yeah, we'd love your gut reaction. I think we've got some sense of that, and then give us the lay of the land to proceed from here.
Sure. Okay, let's start. On the right-hand side, that's a go because we have no input on interiors at all. So
Right.
that one's,
Right.
go with it.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
And that was to help you understand what's going on.
Oh, sure, I understand. I'm just trying to bracket everyone down, they're thinking down. On the middle rendering, are people saying on the east elevation, their only concern is the mural? Is that what I'm hearing from?
Well, and I was wondering about
People.
windows. There's places when I drove by that looks like there were windows there.
Oh, yeah.
And some are painted and some are real windows. Like, what would we be finished with that? And then what about the back side?
Well, we would like to clean up this side of the building and just repeat this pattern around, even if it meant taking out
With
some of
those huge windows?
Yeah, even if it meant taking out some of those little windows. That's our preference. We really haven't given nearly as much thought to the other sides as this. I can tell you that their public face is not nearly as important, and they're little squatty, single-story former grocery store elevations anyway. The functions in here don't need a whole lot of natural light. In fact, it's probably better not to in a big weight room. We've got mirrors as you would typically have in a fitness facility. We are punching holes for windows into the children's spaces where they don't already exist. We've got to have some daylight for the kiddos, so we'll get some windows in there that you would be able to see from across the desert, but we really don't impact the Merchant Street.
Well, I think that what is that, 3rd Street that goes through there, that would just be part of the historic district that people would see also. I don't really think the side by the desert would. I was just wondering, because you
Probably
can't
not.
see that,
Yeah.
far down on the image.
Yeah, and of course, it's gonna be easier if we can put windows back where there was windows, that's easiest, and cheaper, just to, open up a brick fill-in, and put those windows back. That, if it works out, that's what, would be the easiest and the best case, really.
Okay. And again, let me ask Martin and Brenda. I mean, the mural is from 1985, which is not truly historic. Is that even in our realm of what the Landmarks works on? Is something that is a mural? Does that fall under our mission statement? I mean, that's not really.
Sure, it's the building itself is on the National Register.
I know, but
It's
is
up
the
to
mural protected,
It can
or-
be considered a local landmark if you consider it to be historic because of the event that it was created for. For instance, the arch was considered a National Register site before it turned 50 because of what it represented. And since it was a community mural event that was taking place, it's something that
From an
you can
argumentative
consider.
standpoint, I think it could be, and again, it's not my point, I'm just saying the way that the ordinance reads, it could be declared a feature of the building.
Right.
So you're gonna
Which would
demand
put it under
the
us.
owner to maintain something of that stature. You know how expensive that's gonna be for them to have to maintain that mural?
That's what St. Genevieve is all about.
Right.
It's called preservation.
Or they can just let it go and peel off and then there's nothing there, right?
That's what they normally do,
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what you might have.
unfortunately.
And then again, you look at the history of a building like it says in the ordinance, is not frozen in time. There are different things that happen to a building in its life over the 200 years or 100 years old, and you have to decide which is significant to the history of this building and what is not.
Okay, so people are saying they have a problem with the mural, with the stained glass, and with the awning, is that correct? Are there any other items?
What about the windows? Like what kind of windows? Do we have to worry about that kind of stuff?
Well, we're not approving anything
Not, I
right
don't
now.
think at this stage.
We're gonna have trouble with aluminum or vinyl,
I mean,
we're
they're
gonna
not
have
that
problems
far
with that.
advanced in there.
We're gonna go over, but you're not asking that now, you're just saying we wanna put windows of this type in there. We're not talking about materials now, but, like always, we're gonna worry about what materials you use that we can see from the streetscape compared to the buildings that are next to what you have. If we demand they have to maintain their historic windows, and then somebody wants to come in and put aluminum clad windows in, we gotta prove it, we gotta justify it, but it doesn't happen all over that part of town,
Is there a different ordinance for commercial than there is residential?
Ordinance with us, no. No.
It's all the same.
Material type.
What kind of windows did you put back in yours?
Wood.
You put wood back in yours?
No, they're covered differently in the guidelines, yes, but it is what it is, and it is in the guidelines.
Yeah, hopefully you can tell from our fenestration patterns and our proportions that we're interested in maintaining every historical proportion that we can in this building. If budgets were unlimited, I would be happy to promise you the most historically accurate wood window and ask Marvin Window to burn the pattern when they were done. We'll have to see how the capital campaign comes out. But whatever material we present to you, it will be our very best attempt to reconcile the budget and the historical profile of the building. We're not going to ask you to approve gold anodized aluminum because that's all we can afford. It wouldn't make any sense.
Are the windows in the 3rd Street side, are they the ones that are bricked in, are they anywhere near that size?
That's exactly the size they are.
The upper ones also?
In the back.
Yeah, right here.
By the way.
They just don't have the shutters on them, right?
I'm sorry?
There's no shutters on them.
Oh, on these?
Yeah.
No, I don't believe so.
Yeah, those are all just painted shutters on the picture.
Speaking for myself, I don't mean to be argumentative, Frank, but I don't want to have my comments put in the context of having a problem, because I think it's fabulous.
It's a big improvement.
And-
We have some comments, I guess. Sure.
Yes, and that I love the design and what the church and the school will be doing for the community. I mean, it's amazing.
It's gonna make a big impact on the church and the school itself that they have this facility.
I'm just talking about somebody driving up and seeing this building and not knowing that it belongs to the church or anything like you're mentioning. It's just wow. You know what I mean?
Are you gonna label it in any way?
If I was a tourist, like coming to town,
You know how his French Quarter up there?
Yeah. I don't know what, it's so hard, how do you put, or where, there's not really a good opportunity to put, St. Genevieve Parish or Valley Schools on, I think that was one of the things we struggled with on, what else, what kind of fenestration, can we put on there? It was kind of a struggle, and, we just,
The flags?
the flags is what, we came up with, that was, can kind of link it to the community and, keep it. And one of the things that I think the campaign committee struggles with is, we want to keep part of the building as a parish building. We want it to be, a very parish oriented, not just school oriented. So that was, you can't just throw up, blue and white,
Right,
stuff
yes.
everywhere, because
Right.
we really, and that's, part of the thing is bringing the rest of the community, I think a lot of the community separates itself, or a lot of the church community separates itself out because of things that go on in the school. And, we want, part of this facility is really to try to bring, the entire church community together, and.
I think if I saw a rendering
if I saw this rendering and I saw one right beside it, identical with some infill type of any kind in that frame up top, I would choose this look,
Without that.
the clean look.
It says French Quarter now, doesn't it?
Yeah, and I'd love to see that be gone.
Yeah.
Me too.
Right.
Hoping nobody
When,
does.
when,
Art garage.
when they put that up there and what,
Yeah.
the idea of that was.
I
don't know who did that.
Okay, so what more can we do? I mean, obviously, you all are trying to
So,
get some feedback on this. What else can we give you
What do you need to know
tonight?
from us
um,
for your next step?
well, we need to come back before you, is that right, for approval for the project? So when we do that, we will have addressed the canopy. We'll certainly take a look at different forms and come back with something that we think you'll like a little bit more. We will, let's see now, what was the other thing? We'll take a look at the colors of the windows and see if we can desaturate that. We've not even begun really at this point to design that. That in itself is an artist's commission. And maybe in the abstract, there's an opportunity there to take down one piece of art and bring a new one in. I'm not sure how we can really address the murals.
Yeah, I think that's should be up to us.
Yeah, I'm not really sure how we can
I think we need to
bring
look into
resolution
the
to
mirror,
that.
Yeah, I'm not sure myself how we address the mural.
But our-
even if we can.
Well, maybe after you get it done, you could just have them come back and paint it over the,
Right, right.
Stretch one.
I mean, just asking those people on the commission who have a problem with the mural, is that you all want to have the
Someone
mural,
else decide.
some memorial to the mural somewhere, or do you want that exact mural? Because that exact mural's in terrible condition and blocks out all the light on that side of the building. So in other words, are we saying we're going to knock out a side of a building to save a dilapidated mural, or are we just wanting to
Yeah.
take a picture and shrink it down and put a plaque saying this mural was here? I'm just trying to get a
Yeah,
feedback.
I'd
Actually,
like to
if I-
acknowledge that with a,
Yeah, I think
maybe
we-
look into that.
If I may.
Yeah.
Bob Fishbone, who did the mural, did another one on Lindy Squared in St. Louis, and that got knocked down.
Yeah.
And so he did a reduced version of it.
Oh.
That now had to be moved. This was in 2010, I believe. And they actually cut it in 4 pieces. They reinforced the back, cut it in 4 pieces and put it in storage. So I'm not suggesting that by any means, but a reduced copy, whether it be like a plaque or take it on another wall.
Are we keeping Old Man Rozier on there too? He's been there forever, for 30 years. Put him in storage.
Okay, so what we're asking of them then is maybe some other way to memorialize the mural
Right, right.
into it, but
Or
not,
if he would come back and-
not knock out the windows or do whatever else needs to be
No.
done, right?
Right.
Okay, so,
That would be our preference. You don't get what you don't ask for. Our preference would be that you bless or give your assent to us renovating the building and letting the mural.
It just has
Whatever
never
happens,
come
it happens.
before us before, we don't know.
Yeah, we
Yeah,
can't make
right.
no judgment on
We don't
it.
even know if
Yeah.
we're responsible.
Right.
Right.
I have an architectural question.
Yeah.
Probably has come up in your thoughts, but I'm going to throw it out. The clay cornice tops, what would be the thought of carrying those over to the one-story side?
Over here?
Yeah, to tie them together a little bit.
Well, actually, we hadn't talked about that. Yeah, we could take a look at that. I don't know, I don't know how it would look. We can
Still
still look at
good
it.
underneath.
Make it not look so.
It's such a box.
Yeah.
So why not just uncover it?
Part of our approach is to just restore both things and let them be the best versions of themselves. And so it may be that you'd rather just have the clean pediment. Yeah, we'll take a look at it, sure. So when we come back, we would like to address the canopy with you, the window colors, and then receive your approval. That's what we're asking for.
guys, is it possible in the way it looks to me when I look at that, and again, I'm not an architect, but the stained glass window portion doesn't appear the same quality of work as the rest, as far as just the way the rendering was done. Because, I mean, if you go to the stained glass shop, it doesn't look like that in real life.
Yeah.
Is it possible just to tone that down or something, make it look, you see what I'm saying?
Sure.
Yeah, there's.
It almost like
ways.
took some Mark's lots and did those real quick, maybe there's a way to,
Uh-huh.
you know, 'cause it doesn't look like stained glass to me, it looks like painted, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I see.
Painted glass, yeah.
I see.
Yeah, from the photographs that we received, I thought it was colored acrylic or something.
Well,
Doesn't want to glass?
Yeah, our thought was, first thought was to do layers of colored acrylic behind glass. So, and maybe that would even be enough of a solution, so that you're not looking at a true grid of colored panels right on the street, but you're looking at a glass screen, and behind it is something we discussed. There's a particular material that we're infatuated with now. It's just ridiculously expensive acrylic that comes in all kinds of colors, and you can cut shapes, and you can layer it, and there are opportunities behind a glass facade.
Yeah, because you have to protect the preschoolers from the glass,
Is that the bad?
Right. Well, the glass would be tempered, and they probably wouldn't be able to come up too close to
Well,
it, but.
there's windows everywhere.
Yeah, so we had thought about some kind of layered translucent material, but that's the extent to which we considered it.
And you
You're
think-
talking about big sheets of plate glass then?
No, it's tempered glass.
I know, but-
Yeah, the storefront would be tempered and probably double pane with the.
And large, expansive glass.
Yeah,
Well, I mean, small,
I
I mean.
think that
small.
sounds a lot better.
yeah, something consistent with the time period of that building.
Yeah.
And that's what, well, I mean, it's just a different opinion, but that's what I like about it, because it shows the time period each was built.
So,
And
so
it's-
guys, on a macro level, then, we're all saying overall, everyone likes it, except for maybe just fine tuning of the awning, find a way to memorialize the mural, and then the stained glass section. Is that true, everybody, or, again, it's just very ballpark, but on a
Yeah.
macro level?
We'd be glad to do that. Sure.
Sign up to it.
Agreed.
Sorry it took so long.
So then they're gonna come back to the next,
Yeah, they're gonna come back and make some alterations, and,
One of the future ones, maybe not the immediate next, but certainly pretty
Right.
soon, depending on the campaign and how we want to move forward. We'll see you again soon.
great. Thank you very much for being here.
Thanks very much for your
Looks
time and
great.
your input.
Excellent presentation, man. Wow.
Thank you, Peter. Thank you,
My
Todd.
pleasure. Thank you.
What a great thing for the city.
Okay, next item is to construct an 8-foot-high wooden privacy fence at 81 South 6th Street. So, go ahead, and tell us
We have
what
an
you got.
existing fence in now, it's 6 feet tall. This piece is missing. We're gonna tear it down and put up a new fence on the property line. Be 8 feet, dog ear, treated pine.
The existing fence is what, 6?
6. Not high enough.
You mentioned that you're going to move the fence based on the survey. How far are you moving?
It'd be a 1 foot in from the survey line, from the property line.
In toward your house.
Yes. Right.
Well, 8-foot fence is rather unusual. Why do you want it that high?
Well, the 6 isn't tall enough for us. We like to put up an 8-foot fence.
What do you see, like not tall enough, your dog can jump over,
No, we don't have a dog. It's just more privacy.
more privacy. The windows in your house maybe are elevated,
Right, our yard's a little bit higher.
So that's
And
a
when we're in our house, you can see right over
yeah,
it.
so get the fence up for privacy,
Right.
the elevation of your house.
The guidelines call for 4-foot fences. I can see a 6-foot fence. It's in there, but boy, it's beyond me to see why you need an 8-foot because
Personal preference?
Well, the house is built up, and then you got your neighbor looking, you know, I can see it.
you put that on every house in town then.
Whoa, no, I'm talking about a house, how far off the street is your house?
how many houses back to your yard?
Yeah, you're not on the street, are you?
Well, no, we're not on the
Will
street.
will your
You
fence
can't
be
even
that
see it, you
visible?
can't see it from Market
You
Street.
don't- I know, I'm familiar with the property, you can't see the fence,
No, you
Then
can't see
who
it.
can see in?
the house next.
Do the neighbors that
There
back
is no
up,
house
We
next
have
to this house.
we have 4 neighbors.
that back on Market Street, isn't it, right?
It's off of Market Street.
Yeah, you got 4 houses that back right up to your property.
And the
Yeah, it's
expense to go with 8 instead of 4, I'm sure you have a good reason, no, you know. And that's your reason for privacy, and if it was, you know, it was right along the main street, we could, it looked like you were trying to hide something, you know what I mean?
No,
But-
it's not, you can't even, it's not, won't even be visible from Market Street at all.
Well,
That's not even visible.
Yeah.
Well, I think this photograph shows.
Probably do you notice the difference between a 6 or an 8?
Is that the photograph?
No.
No. What's that?
I think it's this photo
That's-
here,
that's
correct? That's the
Market
one
Street.
that's in play right here.
No.
No, not this either?
Do you have one to show us?
I
or you
don't,
wanna
I
use
don't
one?
have.
It's on the south side, isn't it? And that's next to the parking lot, the Elpers building.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, there's a big picture right there behind you, you can look through those.
Yeah, you can see it from the arrows. Yeah, that's it.
You wanna stand up and give us some idea? So the arrows are showing where the fence is gonna be?
That's where the fence is now.
That's what I had in my notes.
Okay, so the fence will be
Yeah, they're
visible
right
from
there.
these streets. Okay.
So it's the
This is
second,
facing Market.
yeah, the property back.
Is
This
that
is
the
the
fence?
fence, this is the
Right.
fence.
Not the property.
Yeah, that's
facing
okay,
the
it's way to the
Yes.
back.
Right.
And then he has like
This is Market
one,
Street.
two, three.
So what's the height of the
three
fence now?
houses
Sixth Street goes
that-
this
So
way.
7,
Or the
8,
length
I
of
don't
the
know.
Right
property.
behind the cemetery.
Okay, right, so
His
this
house
is
is
it's
set
way off,
behind
way
it.
off the street.
Oh, wait a minute.
What color are you gonna paint?
The west
It's just gonna be treated pine.
And this is south
So
side.
earthy, so it's just gonna kind of blend in.
Yes.
If you look north, you can see
Yeah, I'd say it's north.
it. North of Market.
Standing south of the fence, look north and see it.
Right.
That arrow's pointing north.
Pointing west, I think.
West?
That's front of the
It's
house.
pointing north.
The arrow's pointing north.
These houses are facing south.
Yeah.
That's
facing
north.
south.
What?
These houses, in this photograph, these houses are facing
Facing
south.
They face nice of Columbus. Nice of Columbus is south.
Right.
They face the cemetery.
Limefield's west.
No,
No,
Don't
His
you?
house faces the cemetery.
my house.
his house faces the cemetery.
His house is facing cemetery.
Yeah.
This is Frank's old
Oh,
house.
here's the
Yeah, I know
here's
the
his
area.
house.
Okay,
Well,
so
this
that's
is
facing
what-
south.
This is what we visual from the road. And we're looking north to see this fence, which is approximately how far off the road, 80? How far off the road would you say it is? The only way we can see it?
From Market,
From Market.
from Market to there, I can tell you.
Well, just ballpark,
It's
80,
80 feet.
80 feet?
The street runs, it's south or north, Sixth or south Sixth, not east or west. I think that's looking west.
Okay. West or whatever.
Well,
This is
whatever.
the distance off the
Yep.
road that it is, 80 feet. It's 6 foot now, he wants to go 2 feet more. This is just a little window of 80 feet off the road, and there's, what, a house? A house, some utility buildings and that between
Yes.
you and it? And a parking space for the?
Yes.
Have you talked to any of the neighbors about putting that up?
No. No. I mean, there's a fence there now, so, and it's,
Who's been to
it
it?
needs to be fixed. So what we just had it surveyed, it's actually, we thought it was on our property, and it's not. So, it's the neighbors.
So that fence is gonna stay, actually?
Well, I can't take it down, it's not mine, so it needs to be taken down.
So we're gonna have a 6-foot fence and a foot and a half away, we're gonna have an
It's not the fence you see looking back through here, it's the fence along here. And this is the street coming up here. And that's the house. This is the parking lot.
Okay.
And you're looking at a picture that's looking back that way.
What street do you think this is? This is 6th?
Yeah.
It's Market.
This is Market. Do you know Elpers, is this?
Elpers?
Is this Elpers' office?
Yeah, it's a house now.
Remember
Okay,
the
okay,
lawyer
gotcha,
place?
gotcha,
Right, okay,
gotcha,
yeah.
gotcha.
Yeah. So this is Market, and we're looking north, which I can see where you
Yeah.
got really turned around there, because I don't understand that myself. Where's Market on that?
Right here.
Okay, but even this- yeah, okay, so that, yeah, so we're
No,
looking
it's
north.
right down here.
Right. But you won't see it through the cemetery on the street you're on.
It doesn't-
Do you really think you're gonna
doesn't
be able to
affect the
tell how tall
cemetery.
the fence is from Market
I
Street?
can't tell, there's a fence there looking now.
I can, and I'm behind it.
You, right.
You can or can't?
I can,
Yeah, is this your home here?
yes, it is.
Yeah, well, naturally, you would, yeah.
Which one's
Which I have no problem with him leaving, taking the fence down and putting the 8 foot back right where it's at. There would be no problem with me.
I can't take that one down because it's not mine.
Yeah,
Because it
that's
runs
not
through
what
all
we're,
three of those
Ours,
properties,
but that
doesn't it?
fence there.
yeah, that's fine, that's not what
Yeah.
we're here for,
Right.
so
Okay, is there a motion on the,
I'll motion to approve it.
is there a second?
I second.
Second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Aye.
Aye. With 2 opposed?
Who approved and who opposed?
Jan and Frank were opposed, and we were approved.
Okay, buddy.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming in.
Sure.
All right. Next item on the agenda is to place a metal 8x12 foot and metal 8x8 foot utility building in the rear yard at 627 Market Street.
Okay, the question I have is this not a matter of placing them, it's a matter of approving them, right? They already exist, don't they?
I'm sorry. what?
We're on item to place, is it to place
Right,
or?
they are already there,
And one of them's not visible from the street and the other one is.
yes.
Can the other one be moved? The one that can be seen?
That's a question for the applicant.
Oh.
Sorry.
Hi, I'm Marcia Akins, and we had put that building there because we don't have the money right now to build a big garage or anything. The building is going to put toolboxes in and things that Jim needs because he's walking with the walker, and sometimes he has to be in his portable wheelchair, electric wheelchair, and that's why the building was put there. It's 5 foot off the property line.
Actually, a temporary building then, right?
So it can be moved if it had to be moved.
It can be moved, it has to be moved. All of them behind us and the side of us is just temporary ones too. And the reason that we wanted to go ahead and get it moved in was because we'd be doing the city streets and that heavy load and stuff going off the new sidewalks and stuff. We didn't want to interfere with none of that.
So you're saying this is temporary?
No, I'm not saying it's temporary now.
So it's a,
And there's one right next to us, on our neighbor's side next to us, that is the same type of building, and it's on the property line, but we don't have no problem with that. And when she was told that she could have it, there was no special permit to get it at the time. She was told that she could have it. The city requires that a certain size and a certain length that they would be a permit for her building. And so she brought her building in and set it there, and it's been there for a long time. But it's setting right on the edge of the property line, and ours is 5 foot off the property line. That would just, yeah, you can see it from the street.
But he needs it
But
there.
it's a driveway, and he needs it there for
His scooter. to get-
his scooter and his, get his things out of the vehicle into the shed that he wants to put there and stuff too. And be able to have access. And I have nerve-ending condition and muscle pain, and I can't do a lot of walking to the very back shed.
is there any way it could be,
Mhm, yeah.
it just boils down to looks. Is there any way it could be put, as we're driving by and we look down the driveway, that it could be put behind the house?
No,
Okay, so that's there or nowhere, right?
there or nowhere.
And is this a floodplain, Brenda, where it has to have the flow through?
No, it's not.
Well, according to the guidelines, doesn't it have to be, not affect the streetscape? And since it is directly on Market, from the picture, it looks like the other one is covered or is hidden. Your neighbor's is hidden.
No,
from-
that's ours too. The one behind it is
Well,
ours
we have a
too, that's
picture of-
covered.
Oh, I see.
It's hidden by the lean-to garage of your neighbors, I believe, from the streetscape.
Garage.
It goes
Which one are you
back
talking
towards
I
her
think
house.
these are both there.
Yes, but look at
This
this
one is
one.
behind.
This is their neighbors.
This is the one. setting in the sidewalk.
Yeah, but look, okay, so, let's see.
You know, it seems to
Look
me
at
that
this
if,
picture.
It's far enough off the street for the driveway, because the driveway's an extra long driveway. And you would have to really be looking over that way instead of paying attention driving down the road to even notice it being there.
Yeah.
If she's comparing it to her neighbors, then it's right behind her.
so you park cars in that driveway?
Yes, we do.
And that shed is basically causing a dead end there, right? I mean, you don't go
Yes.
behind the house with cars. And-
No.
Well, it seems to me, I'm not trying to tell you what to do, but it seems to me that a 10-foot section of pine fence would solve the whole problem.
Yeah.
Just hide it.
What?
But how's he gonna get to it?
Because it's ugly.
How am I gonna get to it? If I put a fence up in front of it,
He's gotta get his scooter.
Just one section of fence is all I'm saying.
why would I want that up there for? It
Just
looks-
to disguise it from the street.
Can it be moved right next to
That's
the
what
other
I'd
one?
like to see, the house hide it.
Your
Well, that's
neighbor's,
obvious.
No.
your
No.
neighbor's metal shed is behind their garage, and it's not seen from the
There's
street.
no metal shed behind their garage.
This is what she's referring to.
I think they all both
Do what?
Metal shed.
Do they own it?
That is their metal shed.
Okay, is it behind
It's,
their
but
house?
no, it's at, behind their house at the side of mine.
So we're looking at it right here. That's the one that we're.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
And-
And it ends at the, it's there at the end of the driveway.
Yep, I
So
see.
he can get in and out.
Right,
For him.
for
And
handicap.
this is the only way we have access to our backyard, is around this side. So we left enough room there, but we're still 5 foot over from him on this side. And the very end is the drainage that we have.
And there's no way you can.
No, it won't,
Okay, no, we just.
because of the drainage off of both roofs.
Right. Did you see?
It would flood it would flood our, his music room that's gonna be back there. Because there's no gutters on the shed
Well, you
at
still
all.
see it here, so.
There'll be gutters on the
And the
house,
water
but none
does
on the,
pool
The
there.
biggest part.
I know it's the inspection.
That's what we got it. It's got it.
I don't see where, you know, it's an eyesore. We've tried to clean up that property and has put in so much money. And I wanna do right, but I don't see where the shed itself, it's not an eyesore, it's a new building. It would've been the same if it would've been a wooden one.
Well,
You know, it'd still be, many years ago, it was just one car garage off another foot back, and it was clapboarded and ugly, and it came down, so,
but we have a better picture here where your neighbor was hiding their shed, so you don't see it.
you can still see it though.
No, yeah.
At first, I'd say you've done a great job of making your property look a lot better, because this is before and after on the right and the left, and we definitely commend you for how great that looks compared to what it was in 2010.
Oh,
So you
yeah.
did Great on that.
And we're gonna be moving in it, so we have fixed it all up as a handicap accessory place. And it would accommodate both of us for the rest of our lives there, so.
Does that make a difference?
I'd like to see it all the way.
And it's not bothering any of our neighbors, and we all get along down there, and
Any more discussion from anyone, or motion, or?
You know, I'd like to see if it could be, you know, she said she's not willing to move it over to get it out of the streetscape, so.
it's not that I'm not willing to move it over, it's just that it will flood. When it rains, all the water will come off the roof onto the,
The roof of the shed?
yes, will come off onto the patio plus the driveway, and it will put water in the back room.
You don't have trouble with that now with the shed that's there?
No, because the water goes down a drain there.
But you're not concreting it down, it's not bolted down to
No,
the concrete.
no,
I mean,
uh-uh.
If it could be moved, if it, you know,
Once it's there, though, it's permanent for you, you don't plan on it.
No.
Right. It's just a
Right.
pre-built building that's moved in and sat, you know.
Mhm.
It's cheaper than building one there.
Well, we put so much of our money inside because we had to go all the way down to the main rafters inside. So we've put all of our money in it, plus the outside that, we just didn't have the money for a shed or the money to
build a garage.
build a garage, right? So our vehicle still has to be out in the weather.
They're showing up more and more on our table here, these utility sheds, and we have to start trying to hide them.
Well,
You know what I mean?
I
That's
know
our-
what you got, and
Right, we gotta
just
start.
like, you know, you let these portable buildings come in, and you can say, okay, I want you to leave it set there, or you have to move it. But that's a portable building, I can pick it up, move it any day I want to.
But you're not
Just
doing
like
it.
everybody else is doing down there.
Right, and you probably got, what, 6 of those in that little area?
What?
I think church has got a few, and
AJ behind us has got three
Three,
that he
so-
picks up, moves anytime he wants to. The one next to us is a portable that can be picked up and moved off too. I mean, if you're gonna tell me to move mine, let's have the other ones move all theirs.
well, the only
All
reason we would
property
think
lines
about,
and.
the only reason I bring up moving yours is on the streetscape scene. You know, it's like church's fence, you really don't see it. in the distance. Well, that's what we gotta protect, the streetscape. And that's.
Well, if
that's
my
how I-
vehicles are sitting there in the tall van, you're not gonna be able to see that fence anyway, or that, shed.
Yeah.
Cause we have 4 vehicles, you put 4 vehicles in that driveway,
Okay.
there's only 2 that gets drove, unless he's playing music, and then the van gets pulled out. You put 4 or 5 vehicles in that driveway, you're not gonna see
You
that
can
shit.
see it anyway.
You're gonna see all my vehicles when you travel down the roadway.
With either side, is it that we've got-
We'll have to issue parking.
Parking permits. I'm just saying, we've gotta protect the streetscape, and you're on the street. Yes, we vote on it.
I mean, is there,
I just wanna make sure everybody's done, I think we jumped the gun last time.
I mean, how much would it cost to move the building if we had to move the building? It's like $100 or,
They don't want
Couldn't
the
you just get
building
a
moved.
pallet jack and move it?
I'm just saying, if it ever became a problem, would we
Well,
be
once we
amenable to
decide
move
it's
it?
there though, once we.
No, but it's
decide-
not, I mean, it's just sitting there, right? I mean, it's gonna be moved or
Move
not,
it.
I don't know anything
Put
about
wheels on
shafts.
it
I
and
mean.
move it around.
Oh, I moved them with PVC.
I wanted to ask this for my husband to get in his scooter in and out and his tools and stuff in and out of there. No,
Once we approve it,
it's-
it's there to stay, so we have to, it ain't gonna
that's
move.
why we decided to even set it there. It'd be the same thing if we built a $500 to $1,000 garage sitting there. You'd still be seeing it from the street. And if you had your vehicles parked in the driveway, you're not gonna be seeing it.
Well, and I assume typically on a typical day, you probably have a vehicle about as big as that shed parked there,
That's what
don't
she
you?
said.
You have
Yeah.
an SUV or a
You got
van or
3 of them
something.
that big.
If you could just park the van right in front of it.
Yeah, you know.
My man, I hide that shit.
Is there a motion?
It's complicated because every day we're doing what the guidelines say we can't do. It says metal or plastic prefabricated sheds are inappropriate, the word inappropriate. And then in the back here, inappropriate means impermissible. When the term inappropriate is used, a relevant design approach shall not be allowed. And that just complicates the thing because we're doing it every day. And I think the only thing that you can do to help ease that situation is to hide them.
Well,
And
the
then
house
sitting
next
out in
door
the
did.
driveway is not hiding it.
If you're gonna move mine, then you're gonna move everybody else's down there too.
Well, like the neighbor's house right next door, it is hidden. And the other shed behind your house is hidden.
But no, guys, if she had shot this photo with her car in the drive as opposed to pulling him out
There
and
is
shooting
one
it.
with the
Well,
car in
that's
the
a
driveway.
mobile thing, it's not, you're gonna leave the
I
car
know,
there.
That's,
you know,
Can't buy a car.
that's getting all picky, especially when all these other buildings are sitting around here that's feasible looking from, you can drive down the street and see any of them.
Get too picky, I'll move out. Oh, no. About ready to.
I mean, we have done everything that we can for that house down there to get it ready to move in. And I'm not going to be undertaking over a shed. I'm not going. The shed's there, the shed's gonna stay, whether you guys approve it or you don't approve it. That's just the way it's gonna be. That's the bottom line. Until you make a lot of there's a lot of buildings here that don't even have permits on them. And you're worried about mine?
We're not disagreeing with you.
There's a lot of them that moves them in anytime they want to. You could tell me to move it, I could move it tomorrow, but it's a portable building, I can move it back the next day. Just like anybody else. And there's a lot of them in this town that is visible from the street. There's a lot of them that doesn't have permits to even have them in their yards.
Go ahead, Ed.
So I mean, if you're gonna set rules for one, you gotta set rules for everybody.
Well, we didn't set.
And you
them.
gotta,
We didn't set them.
how can 5 years from now, somebody can put something in,
And do I agree?
and 5 years next, you wanted, someone else wants to do it, and they can't?
Just because they're wrong doesn't make you right or you wrong. What we see now is we'd like you to try to hide the shed.
I'm
You
not
say you're
hiding the
willing,
shed.
And you're not willing, and it's not us making this decision. We've got a handbook that's been here
That's
for,
fine.
we're we're just saying that.
Well, then why
it's a-
didn't
it's
all
a-
everyone else go by the handbooks?
Because I presume they didn't come here and that's a city problem. That's not landmarks, okay? We don't send out the building instructor to drive around looking for the problems. If they think they can sneak out, it's not our job to find them. It's our job to go by our handbook and do what we're told to do, which, believe me, if you think this is fun, we're asking you if you can just try to hide the building. We're gonna overlook that it's, like Frank says, it's all the raw materials, but there's 500 of them in city limits. We know that. But what we're asking is we're trying to get you to hide your building. It looks like 30 feet to me.
I'll put the van in front of it.
Well, then.
It won't
that's-
stay there all the time, but I'll put it in there.
You understand what I mean. I
Yeah.
know you're irritated, or you're mad as hell, because I've been in the same shoes, but we're trying to get you to work with what we got. And one way we can work with you is if you try to, and that's a no to you, like it's no to us to permit you to show.
I'll
So one of us
put the
does
van
it.
in front of it.
That's not acceptable. That's not a hide. The fence John talked about, and you weren't willing to do that. We're just trying to hide this, to protect this. Jason was here, we could have denied his fence because of the streetscape. It's 80 feet, whatever back. He's adding 2 feet, so we allowed that. A few of us didn't allow it. But this looks like it's, to me, and I've moved them, and I did streetscape, it looks it's easy enough to get it over next to your other one.
I'll put the van in front of it, the vehicles you want them to see.
And I said that the van won't be accepted. It's movable, you're gonna sell it, it's gonna move. I know, that's where we stand. And we work with people that possibly, if it was locked in there, then it would.
You want me to put a fence up
No,
across it?
I want you to move it 30 feet to where
No.
we can't see it from the street. And you don't want to, like, we don't want to approve it because it's showing.
I don't think we can move it 30 feet.
No, because we got a dip.
And I can't see
We
that.
have a dip in the yard
And I can't
that
see
goes
that.
down, well, there's a dip, I'm telling you.
Right, I believe
There
it.
is a dip
I believe it.
in the yard that goes down
Right.
on flat. Where the shed's at, it's all high area, all the way back to the the back shed. It's all high area.
I'm just trying to work
But-
with you. Could you move the shed that's there and set the next one to it? I mean, we're just trying to get it out of the look.
No.
No.
I think Brandon wants to say something here.
I will attest to her stormwater problem issue with the layout. You can kind of see it if you look real hard on the picture that shows from the rear. The land does slope, and they do have a stormwater issue with water going into the back of that rear addition, and that's why they had to replace it, because of the rot that was taking place because of that. There is a slope, and I can see what she's saying there about moving it next to the other one.
Well, it's,
Let me throw a practical idea out here, guys. The shed is already there, correct? It's already been placed. Why don't we table this and revisit this in a couple meetings, and everyone can just get comfortable with it being there or not, and maybe come up with some ideas of how to disguise it. Nothing will be gained or lost today that would not be changed a couple months from now. And we can all just calmly, as we're driving down the street, look at that and say, either I see it or I don't, or maybe we can put a piece of fence there or a tree or something. I mean, because you're not asking to place it, it's already there.
I could make a motion that we approve the move or the placement of these two sheds if the owner will make a good faith effort to hide from the street.
Whether it's
But
with
if
the
she is
van or
unwilling to
with-
do that, why we go ahead?
Well, I think she's just feeling boxed in a corner here, I mean, so.
I agree with that, and I guess I'm gonna just, no, somebody has to say it. If this commission feels like they're boxed in as well with the guidelines that they have to enforce, I think that there would be an opportunity for the Aikens to go to the Board of Aldermen, and whether we disapprove it or approve it or table it, and just ask for a hardship permit or permission.
Because of what you need it for.
for handicap. I got another idea. If you could side the front, just like the house, wow, bang, done. Looked like a shed that was there. You know what I mean? It would match the house, but that's just.
match the house.
That's another idea.
It's the same color as the house.
Yeah, but, you know, it's usually vertical instead of horizontal. But anyway.
Do you recommend she come to the Board of Aldermen and ask for a hardship because they need that for handicap purposes?
No, there is no hardship language for the board, is there? It's just an appeal of your decision. So they can
Hardship's
only,
the only hardship.
but
And it
you can
bases
grant
it
a
on
financial
just-
hardship.
Right. That's just not what we're talking
You
about.
will have to deny the permit in order for them to then go to the Board of Aldermen.
Right.
Yes.
But the shed stays.
Well, the shed, in the process, the shed's not going anywhere until somebody makes a decision.
Because you guys feel it's outside of your guidelines and what you're supposed to.
No, our guidelines are very plain.
Yeah,
We
if
understand
we
her
follow
sense.
guidelines, it should not be there.
Yeah, we're trying to get her to have this right where it's at. Our guidelines say it can't go there.
Metal shed.
The metal shed.
Wood
for this-
shed could.
Wood shed could.
Yeah, you can use wood.
Like materials, has to be for the
Yeah,
streets.
that's why I was wondering if she could use the same board on the front and get rid of the little gap that looks like a shed. It would fly with me real good. But when you drive by, it is a metal portable shed. And our guidelines are very, like Mr. Meyer said, it's very, so we're trying to find a way. And one way is for us to deny it, her go to the alderman, alderman says, you got it. You're handicapped, which would be a good way. Or I'm thinking if they could just side the front, so it looked like, you know, I know it's the same color, but you can tell it's a metal, and then I wouldn't have no problem at all.
How do you do that? How do you put
Yeah,
these
and
sides
she even
on
have
the
financial
metal?
When you
capability.
take the metal
couldn't
off,
be put right
you've
here.
got your spring work, and you just screw it.
Okay, so you take the siding that's on there off.
Yeah, you take the metal off, and it's
We're
probably
gonna be put right here.
4 foot
Still
center,
go to
so
the
when
back.
you
Saying
build
the
it, you
car
have
still
to
would
add
back
two
up
more
to it,
studs,
is the
and you
problem.
just put
For the
Since
center.
he has handicap stuff.
But, or like
Well,
I
guys,
said,
why don't we just table it for 60
I'll make a
days?
motion that we table that.
Ponder it.
Until we,
At a calmer time, we can always then come back. She could always take the other avenue, right? Everyone happy with that? Would that be a happy resolution for tonight on that?
Call for second.
Right? So is there a second to that
Second.
motion? All right, so we're just going to table it for 60 days, and we're all gonna go out and look at it and try and figure out a plan.
Okay.
And thanks for and your house looks
Thank
great
you.
compared to the 2010
You've done a
picture too.
wonderful job on that house.
Thank you.
Okay, next up is a request to demolish a single-family residence located at 885 Market Street.
Hello, how's everyone?
How are you
My name's
doing?
Christina, and this is Brandon, and we are purchasing two houses on Market Street, 881 and 885 Market. 885 is in what we would consider in repairable condition. It's dangerous in a lot of ways, and we would like to demolish that residence.
Have you purchased one?
We are in the purchase, we are renting to own them, is what we're doing.
We owe $18,000 on the property, and I plan to have that paid off about a year.
Excellent. Yeah, so this decision's pretty big.
Yeah, I
Yes.
know.
I mean, if you can't tear them down, oof.
Well, the one on 885, the roof is caving in on it.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
There's I mean, you can go up to the walls and grab the wall and just pull it, and pull the boards right off the walls and everything else.
We have
So
children, and
it could
it's-
be a matter of time before it does, and I'm afraid that if I did go in there and start doing work, that trying to tear down things and replace, that it could easily come down on my head.
So is your intentions to rebuild there, or?
I would like to rebuild another home about the same size there, yes.
It's a one-bedroom.
What would be your intentions for it?
Well, the one, the 885 one, the one that we are asking to consider demolishing, we want to demolish that and then put a new one in its place. A new one in its place.
Would you rent it or?
We have family that would probably occupy it.
I wouldn't sell it. I would
Right,
keep it.
we wouldn't sell it.
Who
I
owns
was-
the property now?
I don't remember the name.
I'm not sure on his name. I'd have to get the contract. I didn't bring it. No.
Well, he was. The man that owned it before
He's
us
the
had
ex.
passed away, but then someone
He owned three
someone
houses
else
beside
bought
each
it.
other. Sold two of them. Well, he sold, it was his son or something got them and sold two of them to the people we bought.
Right.
Yeah.
And,
And I think, did they come to us about something?
It may have come to
They
you about
told
the
me
front
no.
porch
I
post
think they did.
on 881. When we had purchased the house, they had put up like a, what was it, 2x4, 4x4?
Yes.
4x4, I don't really know. I don't know construction work, but they put up the post. We had changed the post to the white color post again.
Has the building inspector seen it?
I'm sorry?
Has the building inspector been inside?
Yes, we were
And
both inside.
What's the comments?
It's,
Beg your
Oh,
pardon?
no, that's 881,
Oh.
not 885.
I was like, wow.
881
No,
Texas.
no, no.
yeah, we've been in both of them.
Code.
Yeah.
You can, the pictures that you've seen of it in the last couple of months, you can tell that it needs a lot of interior work, but it's structurally sound. I meant to put up a larger picture of the attic. The attic's beautiful. The truss system is incredible, and it is very sound.
And that's dimensional lumber on the truss system, right? It's not hand hewn.
No, it's not hand-hewn.
Sorry, you're saying where it's caved in is structurally sound?
It's in the
part
truss
below it,
system.
The attic, the studs.
What is it, the back porch, or the back?
It's the roof
Yeah,
on top
all
of
over
it.
where the
It's-
kitchen
it's
is, you
a-
can see it
Yeah.
inside.
Yeah.
It's both
Yes, it
down.
does need a new roof, that's for
Yeah,
sure.
it needs a
It
lot.
needs the trusses
Yeah.
replaced there too,
Is that over the?
where the hole is.
Talking about the addition?
Yes, where the kitchen is, yes.
I don't know
Yes.
whether it's an addition or not.
It's an addition.
And this is the one you wish to tear down?
Yes.
Build another, so you looked at had somebody professional look at it and say, hey, we can rehab this easier than the expense of building a new one?
We have,
Did you go, did you
we
go
never-
through that?
we've been doing all the work ourselves.
Okay.
We haven't done anything really professionally. His brother's a construction worker. We rely on him for a lot of this expertise in that, so.
And from one of the pictures, you can see brick wall through there.
Yeah,
Was that the original exterior of the house?
don't know
I
for sure on
assume
that.
both houses were originally brick at one time.
Yeah.
As I'm messing with the 881 house, I'm finding that it was probably built on 3 times. So, because I can see that after you come out of that first little room that's about the same size as I guess, half that other house too. I imagine they were both the same size, and then they built on another chunk. And then on the 881 one, they built on yet another chunk. So,
But we gotta discuss this one first, so let's get this. I mean,
I understand.
as far as the actual, you know, outside of the house, I don't know if it was the brick or the wood slats that's on there now. It's got that wood slate, you know, siding on it. I don't know what
Well,
was
it was,
original.
I guess what I'm asking, if we know how old the house is, we would know if it
I
was
believe
the
it was-
bricks or if it was
I
like
believe it was built
insulation.
around the 1860s, is what I was informed of, I believe. 1880, okay.
It's a very attractive little home. You probably, you recognize that. when you
Yes.
come to buy it. And it's certainly important to the historic district to keep that type of house.
Uh-huh.
I understand the problem. I worked on some old houses myself, and
right now, like, I've got two of them,
Yeah.
and that's the least of my worries. I just don't want it to fall down before I could even get to it, and when I do get to it, I'm concerned about the structure, but evidently she
well, I
knows more
haven't
about it
really
than I
looked
do.
at it, but the old houses are amazingly resilient. They don't
And they
fall
might
down
be.
very often.
Yeah.
As I said, I haven't put any kind of effort into the house.
And we haven't looked at the attic either, so
A quick look.
haven't really checked into that, which I thought was really kind of a neat aspect of the
How
house.
thick are the walls? Are they one brick, two bricks?
I believe they're one
I
brick. If
believe
there's
so,
any
too.
indication by the 881 house, they're just one
One
brick
brick.
thick.
So that just between the studs,
Yeah, just between the studs.
the brace frame house and the brick noggin.
Right. I call it insulation.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
insulation.
call it
That's what it's
brick
called.
insulation.
Yeah, you know.
Yeah.
More or less what we got out of it.
I call it brick insulation.
Yeah.
So, some will request to demolish outbuilding. So that's what we're talking about, an outbuilding.
That's a mistake, I think, on the front
Yeah,
page.
I don't
It was
believe so.
single-family residence.
Yeah, Kevin, looking for this outbuilding.
Yeah.
On the title, on the title page, where it says outbuilding, it should say single-family residence.
What is the historical significance of this house?
I'm sorry?
What is the historical significance of this house?
Just the architecture,
Just the architecture?
the architecture style.
And the
It
other
is
one?
outside of the National Register District, so it was not included in the survey.
Which is important on our, very important on our decision, yeah.
How many other houses are there comparable to this?
It's one of those houses that's
It
very
is,
attractive to the streetscape.
It is, it's a cute little.
Well, it
Yeah, I
could-
We've
mean,
made so many holes
It could
in our
be a
streetscape
cute
here in the
little
last
house.
few years.
It's not mine.
It's a difficult decision to make.
Yeah, this is, but it's just the architecture, the historical architectural value of the home, the looks.
Right, at that and the connection of the
Well,
architecture with the
I won't be doing anything until the lease is purchased.
culture of St. Genevieve at that time.
And then, I plan to go in there and get, some help and see what I can do with the house, but more than likely, from what I see, I don't think it's probably that safe. But, like I said, I didn't go all that far in it, I didn't rip the walls out yet, I didn't do anything like that to see what the inside of that looks like. Just by seeing the roof's caved in, I stepped inside and I thought, there's no way I would move a family in here.
yeah,
So,
you couldn't move.
It would not
You know what
pass
I mean?
inspection.
Well, you wouldn't get an occupancy permit.
Well, yeah, you couldn't do that because the
Oh, I know,
walls
it
are
was
falling
challenging enough
in.
just to get a
Yeah.
temporary one for the one we got.
Yeah.
So why don't we just table it
Yeah.
until
Okay.
the house is purchased?
That's fine.
And
Yes.
That will work for us.
Well, your
Because
decision
you
will
really
be,
can't
you're
do it
not,
anyway.
you don't wanna purchase something.
Well, he hasn't
Tear it
even
down,
gotten
is that
into
what you're
it.
saying?
No, that's not.
I've already sunk several grand into the other property, and it's just like a throw into that property.
Okay.
Yeah.
So no matter what, you're gonna purchase. is
Right.
what-
Yes.
Okay. I don't want you to
Yes, no
think you're
matter
gonna
what.
purchase, you can tear it down and us turn around and get it.
Well, I didn't even know the 881 was considered historic when I got it.
Okay,
And then
yeah.
I come in later and find out, I was thinking it was just this other one they threw in.
Right.
And then I find out that this one's considered historic too. And I did all the steps that they gave me on the paper to gain occupancy. Jim has approved everything pretty much. When they last
There's a
left, there
window,
was a window that needed
fence.
repaired, and I got that repaired.
Excellent.
But now I guess I had to come before you guys for the porch posts, was that correct?
Okay.
Because
Yeah.
of,
Okay,
Yep.
so, hold on. This is.
Dispose of this one, you're tabling it?
Yeah, I guess we're gonna table this one. Is that correct? Is it okay with you guys?
Yes.
Well,
You have a
didn't get a
motion and a
second on
second.
that?
Need a motion?
Not yet.
I had a motion to table it till the property was purchased and.
Absolutely, that's fine with us.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right?
You can talk to Brenda on the way to
Yeah.
what you're gonna have to bring to us, so we can move on.
Okay, and the next one is 881 Market Street to replace the roof shingles with 29 gauge imperial wood metal panels, replace the existing vinyl siding with new vinyl Dutch lap siding, and replace the wooden front porch posts with new wooden posts on the house at 81 Market Street.
Yes.
I have a confusion.
It has the vinyl, okay, what?
I'm sorry, what was the first thing you said that we were asking for? Okay, yeah, the roof. All right.
Yeah.
Right, it's
I'm sorry,
replacing the roof, the siding, and the posts, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
The posts were wooden posts, but we've since replaced those with white,
The prior,
Pillar
the
post,
people
you
we
know.
bought it from
Have-
evidently didn't seek permission or didn't get the correct, go through the correct chain before they ripped those down and put new ones up. And they went with the square 4x4 posts. Well, the ones they took down, we tried to put back up. We got one of them to go up. The other one was kind of there, but it wasn't very well.
Right.
And then the other two was, there's just no way we could get it back together. We tried, I even talked to another guy about what my options were back in, and he didn't see very much way besides just replacing the posts. And I mean, we tried to wood epoxy them together and everything else to get that, but there was just no way it was gonna support that roof without possibly coming down in 2 months. You know. So we went out and bought new posts that are very much like those, as close as I could possibly get, shopping all around Farmington here. And those are the most close with the likeness. It's got the rounding at the top, how the other ones were and everything else. But I don't see any other way I can get those original posts.
Are we gonna tackle this one item at a time, or?
Yeah, why don't we do that? So should we start with just the posts?
I would make a motion to approve those posts.
Okay, motion approved, is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay, have a second, all in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any
Aye.
opposed? So the posts are good?
Thank you.
I'm sorry, who seconded?
George.
George. So you want to do the roof next or the siding?
I've got a question about the roof. I mean, you keep saying replace asphalt shingles. Isn't that a metal roof already?
It has a metal roof,
Yeah, it has a metal roof.
and we just want to
And
place
I
a
just
new
want to
metal
put a
roof.
new metal roof. I brought Brenda the books.
A piece.
Yeah, that was a
Is that a typo?
typo on my part, yes.
Well, that changes everything. though.
Because
Because that
in my
was like-
report, you'll
like
see that I
zero.
went
See,
back
that's
to
what I was
the,
questioning whenever.
in the
Sorry?
report, I went back to roof. Even though on the front it says,
It has, we got up there and we tarred it, well, they got up there and tarred it, and then we got up there and retouched it up. It's doing fine now. I don't know how long it will be doing that way.
Right.
What I basically want is one of the new steel roofs on the house, or the metal roofs on the house. I want it to be a nice looking roof that I don't have to replace again in 10 years, you know.
I don't recognize what that new roof would look like.
I
It's just
brought
a
a
name.
book
Do you have a sample there, or a picture?
of the siding and the
see,
roof.
it's the same one that you approved for Robert Street last month.
Yes.
Yes, we want to use.
Not the barn siding.
No, it's not barn siding.
Yeah.
How to put it in?
I want to know what I was getting into, right?
Let's see if I
It's not
got
required
his
to
here
put his
from
name
last
in.
time.
Yeah.
If I do.
Well, I mean, that's
Big
like
gable,
Yeah, ooh,
He's
yeah.
got skills.
yes.
bad skills.
Got two of
Well, it looks to me like that's a
But I-
maintenance question, replacing
I
material with
agree.
like-kind material.
Same metal.
Maybe the color we,
It's the-
so we don't.
Just
trust
the
it.
The only
Like old
difference will
barns,
be
someone that we're
Yeah.
gonna take
where the
Asbestos
connections
shingles, which are
connections
clearly
are,
not around
the
that
width apart,
building
that's
for
the
sale,
only thing.
and wanna put another
Whether
roof
it's
on, wouldn't that kinda be
16
a
inches
positive
or
thing?
10
Is there
inches.
asbestos in the
Yeah.
back?
Visible
But it-
difference.
I'm not
It's,
sure,
For this
like I
commission,
said,
it
we're
requires
doing the
more
work
discussion
ourselves.
because you're
I-
It's all
changing
tin,
the
so there's
Yeah,
no
even though
asbestos.
Right.
material is
Just
on
the
it,
color right now.
isn't like
I'll
authentic.
go right
You're absolutely right. And that's exactly the way it's going
Okay,
to
but
pass.
Brenda's
It's
saying
always
that
been-
she can't find the roof catalog at this moment, but it's the exact same roof we approved before. And the only difference is the spacing between the seams, is that correct?
Is
So-
it nailed through the roof or under the roof with stabs?
I believe it's screwed.
One-way roof for where, Brenda?
231 Roberts, last week for Jim Beckerman.
Okay.
Because they,
It
The
will not be
siding that's
visible.
used for roofing, you nail through, and that generates leaks.
As I recall, it looks like it's like a standing seam, it's a modernized.
It does.
It laps over.
Laps over.
Laps over, right.
Yeah.
I believe it's an inch overlap or something along those lines. That creates a little.
How far apart is the original gauge in comparison to what you want?
It's pretty wide.
Yeah.
It's unusually wide. It's looks like 18-inch panels.
So you need to at least go with the 16-inch.
It's a very attractive house.
Well, I'm hoping to make it that way.
Yeah.
The 4x4s didn't really do it justice.
No, it didn't.
No.
It didn't help at all.
You just leave those up.
Yeah.
Paint them white. Chisel them
Yes, I
out.
was thinking.
Whittle them.
Well, I'd like to get a lot of work done to that
Yeah,
house.
it has a lot of
Make it
good
look
opportunity.
incredibly nice,
Yeah.
but, step at a time.
We really don't have any information on the roof, we're just going by what Brenda says, it's like a roof, like a roof.
Well, we
Would you
did,
like
we
me
did on the
to-
Robert Street. and so
Would you like me to get the information from last time?
Well,
I can.
most of us are confident that, I don't wanna hold them up,
That
but
porch is like
I
super
don't,
big.
you know, like Mr. Meyer said, where are the nails, but I don't think that would stop, make our judgment call anyway.
Not our problem.
Right, so I,
Didn't mean to put it that way, but that's your deal.
I mean, it was a good looking roof, okay?
Yes.
For those who weren't here at
Right.
the last meeting, it's a good looking roof.
I don't see no problem.
And I plan to match the siding to the roof. I also gave her a copy of that siding, and basically the siding work that's done on it, I think is pretty shoddy. And it might as well, if I'm taking it down to fix it, might as well just replace it with the new
Oh, here it is.
Dutch glass.
Okay, she found the roof. Here it is.
Okay. Yeah, it was in the
All
book
right.
with the siding.
He said it was just-
That's right where you
Oh, that's the siding?
We've got the same.
That's right, we're-
Yeah, pass this around here.
That's the color?
You should pass this around too, or?
I have marked it.
This is for the
Oh,
next
that'd be pretty cool.
one, which is
And then
the siding.
I believe the blue, was the blue or the green?
The dark blue roof.
For the sake of time, we're going to go ahead and pass around the siding at the same time that she's doing the roof. So the siding going that way and roof going that way. So everyone can see it.
Yeah, I think we just got, I think the roof is there a design we wouldn't approve on a metal roof? I mean,
No, it's barn siding.
The only thing that I think whenever I drove by and looked at it is I did notice how wide the ridges are.
Yeah.
You know, and, yeah, and it looks really flat in between. And you look at some of these other ones and with the ridges, it doesn't look the same. So I would,
The one, I think I marked the one,
you did.
okay, I was gonna say.
When we go up by what we have approved last week and we're trying to follow the guidelines, I would vote to approve it as long as it's the widest gauge possible, because it looks like the widest gauge.
They don't even make that for houses.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Or sheds.
No, I don't think so.
That's barn timber.
I think that's what's on there.
That's what I'm
I may be
trying
wrong,
to
but-
explain. That's why it's so wide.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Because you couldn't get that width and,
Well, I wouldn't want a barn tin roof. I'd rather have a steel roof
Well,
if you have an
that'd
option.
probably be
You know,
costly.
Would you want
Gotcha.
that on your house?
And not because of the, I don't think
Well, you only get what they make.
you'd have to have a custom.
So is there a motion on the,
I'll make
Roof.
that motion to approve
all right, is there a second?
that part of it.
All right, we have a second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? All right. And is everyone
Jamie,
comfortable
did
enough to
you
go
second
on
that?
to the siding, or
I thought I approved it.
you want to make a motion on it as well?
I
Or it's all.
could call for discussion.
Is there any discussion on the siding? Sorry? Yeah, guys, let's, yeah, we're trying to get out of here before midnight, so. Is there a motion on the siding? Any discussion on the siding?
Why are you replacing the siding?
It has vinyl siding on it right now
Yes, I
already.
know it does.
But it looks really bad. There's lines, there's pieces that's pulled out, and we just wanna replace it, make it
I
look better
do a
than what it
professional
does.
siding job, and that
Yeah.
job does not look anywhere near professional.
Yeah, it is.
Unfortunately, I know vinyl is what most people can afford, myself
Yeah.
included, but the problems you have with that, you'll soon generate with the new.
No.
Oh, this is,
No, if you put the siding up
I
correctly,
think,
it'll stay there for an
yeah.
extremely long time.
I think it could be done a lot better than what it was done previously.
Right.
There's lots of,
You can even see it in the picture.
yeah, there's lots
They
of
didn't probably go
mistakes
back
they
and
made.
The wall needs to be repaired underneath it because it's not
Yeah.
tight. It allows water to get behind it because of such a great job they did.
Well, I have to say that
This house is not
siding
on
that's on that
National
house right
Register,
now,
right?
as it is.
No, it's outside of the district.
Called
But
clapboard,
it's,
but that doesn't represent.
It's inside the
Historic
National
District.
Historic Landmark District, outside the National.
What you have coming up is much more accurate. I don't know why they can get away with calling that current version clapboard, because it's vertical. I mean, it's completely vertical.
It's a manufacturer.
So
There
the
is-
Dutch lap siding is, I think, a lot better.
Is there a motion on the siding?
I'll make that motion.
Okay, motion.
I'll
Is there
second.
second? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
And opposed say no. All right. So that all
Just
carries.
a word of explanation on my vote. I'm voting for it because it is not on the National Register.
Yes.
If it were in the if it were a building on the register, I would not vote for vinyl.
Okay, duly
But
noted.
for streetscape, the appearance is there.
It's there already.
All right, well, thanks for coming by, guys, and
Well, thank
thanks
you
for
so very
investing in the
much.
community like you're doing.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot.
Thanks for working with us.
What a
Yes.
what a handful.
We'll have more for you soon, so.
All right, next up is application to replace the front porch and to construct fencing in the front yard at 260 North 4th Street.
What was it?
Meyer? You the Meyer?
Is that for Warren?
He's not here.
Applicant
I don't
is
think
not
we have
here.
enough information to even open this booklet. He has no drawings of his fence. He has no.
No, just the picture is all he
Yeah,
brought.
and I don't, I
Okay,
think
well,
we need
we're
more.
gonna table that anyway, because the
Okay,
applicant's
good.
not here.
Good.
Up to bat next is demolish the outbuilding at 260 North 4th, again, the applicant's not here.
I would like you to consider that, though, because it is considered a dangerous building by the city.
Okay, well then let's look again at 260 North 4th Street. Request to demolish the outbuilding.
Could already be gone by now.
Did somebody blow on it?
Unfortunately.
If we had had more water or more rain this summer, it would have been
And
gone.
I've played in that for many years.
Shame on you.
I know.
You playing with the chickens?
I kicked that concrete wall in.
That's on TV, Ed.
Oh dear.
Unfortunately, we're losing too many of the old buildings, but this looks
Yeah,
like
this
it's
is-
beyond repair.
We've lost this.
It
I
is,
agree.
and
I'd make
a lot of the
motion that we
interior
approve
has
the demolition.
been,
Well, you know.
Okay, we have a motion to approve demolition, is there a second?
I second it.
All right, second, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
who's the
Aye.
first?
Any opposed? Frank made the motion.
You're going too fast for me.
Just trying to process it.
We should
All right, so
Jamie, you second?
that brings us down to the discussion items. I guess earlier tonight, there was a little discussion on demolition review and such. I was at a basketball game, so I wasn't here. Anything we'd like to discuss on either of those guidelines for demolition or guidelines for administrative review?
I think that the demolition discussion is a meeting of its own.
Okay,
Yes.
I think that's, since we have such a big agenda tonight, let's go ahead and table
I'll
that for
second
sure.
that.
And
All right, let's move on to
You know,
citizen
my
input.
recorder doesn't even go this fast. Let alone-
Sorry. So we'll move on to citizen input. Is
He's all right.
there any input? All right, let's move on to other business. You know, it's, here's my list here. I made let's see here. You know, I guess back in January, there was a meeting, a joint meeting of the aldermen and landmarks at that time, which I was out of landmarks at that time. And these were at that meeting, the 9 items that were discussed that were of concern from the citizens with landmarks and with the aldermen, which was then also in the newspaper, but recently on October 31st, but it was 10 items in the paper. So we jumped an item. And I thought we might just run down this list item by item and just kind of get a feel for where we are on these. Because some of these, now that nearly a year has passed, may have changed as far as people's opinions, what needs to be done.
what was the 10th item?
The 10th item was, I believe, the terms. I mean, the people were on,
I'm still on discussion items, I'm sorry.
okay. The 10th item, the only thing that differed on here was having the members having term limits. That was the 10th item in the paper. Which we have term limits, right? So that's already been solved.
The mayor renews.
Right. Okay.
Well,
So,
that's a polite way of asking.
Right, Nick?
all right, well, let's discuss that then. So term limits is as far as, yeah, guys, we gotta focus here. I've already got that.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so on.
We have
on-
terms, but
Okay.
we can be reappointed. I'm just stating what
Right.
the facts are. That's not the same as a term limit.
Okay,
Term limit means you can't run again. You can't serve again.
Or like
So-
the alderman, where you have to.
yeah, I was not there at the meeting on January 23rd. Does anyone, was there a concern on how long the term should be?
The issue is that there's been kind of a informal understanding that people who were appointed to positions were serving until they were replaced. And I say informal because in fact, they were appointed to specific terms, but it just became kind of the local protocol to allow people to continue to serve without any formal reappointment or reconsideration. So the way to address that is we didn't have to change anything to address that. We just had to establish in-house a reliable database so that the appointing official has knowledge of whose terms are up and when they're up and puts it up for reconsideration in a timely fashion, and we've done that.
Okay.
So when your term comes up, the mayor will be informed adequately ahead of time, and he can take whatever action he chooses to take or she chooses to take at that time.
Okay, so that item has been cured, correct?
Assuming that we do a good enough job as staff to keep the
Just
elected
on top
officials.
of it, right. Okay, so there's one item down. Next item was distinguishing between homes that have historic significance and those that are just old. I mean, I think that's why the landmarks exist, is to try and figure that out. So I'm not sure how, as an action item, how you amend that, right? I mean, we can't just arbitrarily pick a certain date, and anything newer than that date is of no value, and older than.
Well, that's what we were discussing earlier about the mural. I
We
mean,
have paid.
Right.
where do we draw that line? And
I mean, I think it's just called common sense, right? I mean, that's, I don't know how you legislate
Let's
that.
talk about an issue that came up last week.
Okay.
A citizen in a home that is built in the 50s, I guess, replaced her roof. And should that have required a certificate of appropriateness is the question that's being asked. And it definitely requires a permit because we require roof replacements to get permits. But nobody would look at this home and say that it was historic in and of itself. And the question that has always been raised here is, while that might be true, you have to take that home in the context of the area where it's located. And for that reason, maybe a certificate of appropriateness is proper. This was addressing that question.
Okay.
Well, one of the answers to that is that we have paid $30,000 to the people in Philadelphia, and I think twice, to determine that, what is significant. And I think we have to rely to some extent to that. I mean, if it's in the historic district, I mean, the National Register district, if it's a significant property, listed as a significant property in that district, I think we have to consider it historic. If it's not, then it's a matter of judgment and streetscape.
Well, then you go right on down to the size of the historic district and the downtown. I mean, there was questions about who changed those boundaries. When did they get changed? Was there an ordinance that changed those? You know, and I don't think there was an ordinance that changed.
Sure. The National Register nomination was adopted and approved, and the boundaries included that.
Let's just go down these real quick, because obviously we can't get them all solved in one night, but we can at least look at these and come up with the ideas of next steps on them, right? So, distinguishing between homes that have historic significance and those that are just old. Does anyone have any brainstorm of how we put that into action, or what we could do as a group to make that any better.
Well, I mean,
That are just old.
right now, the National Register goes all the way up to 1950. So that's a strict guideline that we didn't make up. It is what it is. And to me, it sounds pretty reasonable, 62 years.
So we want to say, so anything that's 62 years old or older is,
Well, keep in mind, I think the National Register is probably, obviously down the road at some point going to change 1950 to
That's what I'm-
1960.
right.
So, one way to handle this is just say, let's use the National Register number.
And also your historic preservation ordinance has criteria on what is significant and what is not.
And
Go
contributing.
through that list of how to determine if something's significant. Your preservation ordinance tells you what to look for.
I mean, is that something we should leave in its current form, or should we try and amend that, or just leave it up to our common sense based on those items we just talked about?
That's something that's directly from the National Trust and the
Yeah, we
Department of
quote-
Interior.
I know that I'm saying,
Just need to
is there an action step where we're going to want to try and
Well-
change how we're doing that, or just,
No, I think it's already
It's
codified
documented.
that we.
that's what I think too, so I'm saying I don't know on that
You
that
can't
item, how we
change
change that.
how the criteria and what's significant when you're a certified local government. Now, if you want to step down as a certified local government,
We don't want
no,
Well, we
don't
wouldn't
do
be
that.
here.
Okay,
That's
so
why we're
that
doing
item,
it.
we're all in agreement?
It's done.
It's done, we can't change that.
Right.
Right?
Right.
Okay.
And it's done well, I think.
Okay, next one is being consistent in applying the rules. Again, I've only been here since I don't know what month, but I feel like we've been consistent since I've been here. I don't recall anything that's happened that I would in any way say was inconsistent. Now, there may have been inconsistencies on things in the past, but we weren't here as a collective body. I don't know what we can do about that. I don't know how we can change, or how you can make a mandate to be consistent, because I think we kind of already are consistent, unless someone has a different
Well,
idea.
and I think you guys educate yourselves with, you maintain that, when you come in, you educate yourself.
Right.
And, the issue of consistency was expressed by those citizens who appeared before the joint body and
Right.
said,
Yeah, this is long.
somebody gets to put in vinyl siding, somebody gets denied vinyl siding, somebody gets to do
Right.
a window, and somebody else
Right.
doesn't. That's the issue they were addressing. So it wasn't a question of whether we think we're consistent. It was a question that the citizens.
Right, I'm trying to see if there's
were
any,
expressing some
if there's any action step we
frustration.
can do to make ourselves more
I
consistent.
think monitoring consistency, that
Right.
question is really a good one. How do you do that?
You go by your guidelines, which we feel that we're doing a very good job of now. I think we are. I think we've had some pretty heated discussions. We feel emotional, but we're sticking with our guidelines. So we tabled one, and we're working with it. I can't talk for our predecessors, but I think we can take this one off the table because we've been consistent. And we continue, and I'm sure there's times somebody can stand up and say, well, you're not, and then we'll go again. But I think this one's been taken care of. I mean, that's what we've got to do. We've got to eliminate these. We can't just let it keep pounding.
Right, or if we, or figure out action, concrete action steps we can do.
I think what Ed said is absolutely on target. I agree with him.
All right?
Yeah, so I think we can draw a line through this one, and if, there's a
Well, but-
citizen that doesn't think we've been consistent.
The only thing is that what Martin's saying is we are evaluating the consistency upon what we have learned, but how does the layman public see it? Do they feel we're
But
being
we have
consistent?
to explain our decisions.
That's right.
That's the only thing. I mean, all our predecessors on this commission tried to do the right thing. And if you're not communicating the basis of your decision, then it just looks capricious. But if you say, this was approved for this reason, this was denied for this reason, and it's in the book, again, this book has a fair amount of redundancy in it. You keep finding examples of justification of the decisions. And it's not a lot of it's been seen in tonight's discussions, that our hands are somewhat tied.
Yeah.
We like you a lot, but the book says no.
And when we had that meeting, that joint meeting with the aldermen in the landmarks, I was in the audience, and I didn't realize that a lot of our problems wasn't the landmarks.
It's enforcement.
It was enforcement, and it was the aldermen. And a lot of the complaints were titled landmarks, but it should have been titled to the aldermen. Not all of them, but I thought, whoa, even I felt like I'm
I know he is.
preaching to the wrong choir. You know, the aldermen are, you know, so I think we're doing good. I think we get our books out, we look at it, and I think we can take this one off the table until somebody says we're not again and brings it to our attention, and that's how you better yourselves, you know.
Okay. Finding ways to use vinyl windows and siding on homes that aren't in themselves historic. I think we've been doing that
Yeah.
in a sensible fashion. We did it tonight. We've done it in the past. I don't think we've turned down a single application to date of anyone trying to replace anything that's appropriate that's in vinyl.
We had a special
Unless I missed a
thing where
meeting.
people brought in new products, vinyl windows, vinyl.
I mean, I've learned now about different types of roofs and vinyl I didn't know anything
Yes.
about.
So I think
So
we're.
I think we're progressing on that pretty well.
Cement siding.
I would like to make you aware of one thing. The window, I think it's the window that you brought in, Eddie, from the Do It Center.
Gotta go get the lumberyard.
Yes, they have been advertising that as an approved window by Landmarks, an officially approved
Manager
window.
of the,
Well,
knows that
that
it's
was
not
the big
approved.
question, was how do you back a certain brand of a product when you're branding and saying, we choose this brand?
Right.
And you
No.
can't
Can't
really
do
do
that,
that.
right.
He,
No, we didn't.
he
We have
told-
told them that it has not been officially
It was
approved
just
by Landmarks.
sample
It was
and-
something that they were
You can
looking
try
at to
and
approve.
They
The
came
type.
down here,
Find what the
they came down here to,
characteristics of the product are and make sure that the product being submitted meets those characteristics. That's
But not a
difficult to
specific
do.
brand, yeah.
No, you can't spell out the name of the,
Like
I don't
Marvin
think you
Windows,
can.
you know.
Right.
yeah.
I don't think
But
we should
again,
have a
I'm thinking-
Specification sheet for us, though.
Guys, as far as an action step, I don't think there's an action step necessary on that at this point.
Right.
I mean, because we've been dealing with that pretty well, as I've seen. Next one is people cannot afford compliance. Again, as
You
we've
just gave
discussed
that
tonight,
lady an
possibly
example.
hardships for those who cannot. It's not been an issue to date that we've come up against. Obviously, we have to be proactively cognizant that that could occur, but I don't know what the action step on that would be.
Well, just for the record, that's in a true hardship, financial hardship case, that's extremely clearly addressed in the ordinance.
Right, we've had none.
We've had none.
Ever applied for it of late, okay? Reducing the size of the historic downtown, the historic district to the downtown area. Again, that footprint was established by U.S. government, correct? And I don't really know how, as an action step, we amend that, or the purpose of amending that. Unless someone feels differently. I mean, I don't want to speak for the group.
And you have to make a very good definition of what the downtown area is.
Yeah.
I don't think we
I'm
need
not
to
sure
approve.
what it's supposed to be.
Well, I mean, the current boundaries are very finite and specific, correct? So, yeah, and I don't know how we would alter that. Expediting the building permit process, I mean, I myself am aware of multiple occasions where we've had special meetings to expedite, right? So I feel like, again, I mean, I know it was a concern in January, I don't see it now. I mean, we've been trying to expedite things really well. I mean, we get
Well,
emails,
emails and-
emails.
That was another problem with the alderman. I remember the one gentleman that brought it up and said he was postponed and postponed and postponed, and I didn't really see where it had came to Landmarks. I really
Well,
didn't.
building permits are not.
Not Landmarks.
Yeah, building permits don't have.
No, but it wasn't to do with us.
We're certificate of
Right.
appropriateness, not building permits.
Exactly. So-
Maybe that's what you did.
But building permits can be withheld or held up because you don't have a certificate of appropriateness. Now, I have to say, in 2000, we meet once a month. I think in 2011, we met 19 times.
To
Yeah.
approve and.
Mhm.
Right, I think we're doing, I think we're not.
In other
holding up
words,
anything.
that many more meetings than regularly scheduled meetings. When somebody needed something, we called the meeting
I
that day.
think we can get that
Now,
off.
it has been my observation in the year and 8 months I've now been here, that most of the time when there is complaint about the building permit process being slow, is because the property owner doesn't want to or hasn't submitted
The proper.
the data the building code requires.
Right,
of them.
Exactly.
Right.
You wanna, and absent that information, they can't get their permit. It frustrates them.
Okay, next is improving communications with the citizens regarding guidelines and board actions. I think that's definitely an area we can improve on. That's why we had our our logo contest. We're going to start getting a little more proactive, try and get things in the paper and signage, and try and be a little more, focused in our public relations to the community. So that's what I think we can improve on, but I think we are taking action steps to fix. Being more cooperative with the citizen rather than just enforcing rules. I don't think in any meeting or any action since I've been on here that we have been totally gracious and pleasant with the applicant that I'm aware of.
There's a theme. All of these problems were solved when Frank took over.
No, I'm not saying when I took over, 'cause I was on here before I'm not saying that.
No, because he took over pretty straightened out.
No, I'm just saying, I'm just trying to figure out action steps to fix these. I'm not, it's like a report card, and I'm trying to figure out what of these we are failing on and which ones we're doing decently on. On the PR one, I won't say we're failing, but we can improve.
Well, and I think you definitely educate the people when they come in and they're asking, they're saying, well, I want this, and you're trying to say, well, this is not, and you explain to them
Right.
the process, and then you tell them what the next step is. And
Right.
I think, yeah, and treating the applicants with respect and giving them the information is an important part of what this board does. I think in a larger sense, however, those that don't get here really don't know. And so that's the education, I think, that needs to take place, and I'm not sure what method we use to do that, but I think we need to.
YouTube.
YouTube, yeah. But I think we have to continue to think about how we get the information.
Yeah, the question of, I don't know how, single way to do it, you just keep doing it. I think.
Well, the problem is, the only time anybody cares about us is when they need us. They don't care to be educated till they need us, and then that 15 minutes.
Or then maybe there's like a
Well, just-
pamphlet or
We're here,
something that.
come to the meeting.
Well, you have the handout
Yeah.
for people. I mean,
Yeah, they go to Brenda first. People talk to me, I say, you gotta go to Brenda for a building permit, she'll tell you.
And I think as we get more visible in the community, more people will know of us, and that we're not to be feared, but we're fine, and for them to come. The final item was providing some leeway so the strict application of a regulation or guideline can be waived if it isn't appropriate for a given situation. I mean, I feel like we've been doing the best we can.
Yeah.
Okay? I don't know what we can change on that.
I think the important part of that is that sometimes they have to be waived, but
Yeah.
there needs to be a good explanation in the minutes as to why they were waived,
Right.
so that it doesn't become a precedent and the next person says, well, you
Exactly.
did it for him.
I think you have to have a finding of fact. You treat it like a variance in a land use decision.
Right.
And that is, you have a finding of fact, which is what you're saying. You need to say why. I think it needs, as with a variance in a land use decision, it needs to relate to some hardship. It isn't just a convenience, it's something, there has to be a specific condition or hardship that was present that justified it. And I think if you follow that, you'll be in a good defendable position.
So, and anyone out there in the wide world who watches this broadcast on our local channel, if you want to send us information that if you're not here, the things you see we need to improve on, we would welcome that. Right, 'cause the best way we can score ourselves is to get feedback. And I think in most cases, we're there. Yes, we have input.
I'd just like a little clarity for my own purposes on the boundaries. On the commission, on the district boundaries, when we moved here, I bought the property 10 years ago, there was an established boundary. Since then, the boundary has changed. I would just be, and like I say, when we moved here, we stood on the front lawn with the appropriate people from City Hall, and they said the boundary stops down there. Okay, fine. When that boundary was changed from the established map, was that done through the ordinance process?
Yeah, it's gonna predate me, so I'll have to.
I'm just asking.
refer to
Yes.
Brenda.
Yes, it was.
And that had to be approved by the alder.
found the ordinance?
I can, well, it should be in your, well, does anybody have their book with them? It should be in the book. Let me see.
What boundary are we talking about? The city or the historic?
No, the historic boundary. At this, at that time, Frank, if you read the description on the list of properties, there is a term, and they use kind of vague language that says the boundary is generally 4th Street and Seraphim. And that was the accepted boundary at the time. And there was a mysterious map that was lost, and I think has since been found. I've never seen the map. But supposedly, that's what...
The two historic districts, well, there are three, but the two national ones are defined by naming the properties and a very accurate map. And that is only changed when it goes through the national process all the way up, and the Board of Aldermen adopted it. Now, maybe it's the city boundary that you're talking about.
No.
I don't mean the city limits, I mean the city historic district. Sometimes that waves around a bit, I think.
Yeah, I'm not sure what that is.
Right now, what is it? It's the two historic districts, or what is it?
I'm sorry, I was reading. What
Well,
was?
National Register goes from 7th to Front Street, from Roberts to Seraphim. National Historic goes from Landmarks goes from 61 to the Big Field, which is the same thing, basically, same Front Street, and from Seraphim to Riverview. That's just the way it is.
Yeah, but there had been, I don't know whether there still is, I really don't know. There was a historic district for the city, and it was a couple of different zones within that. There was a H1, an H2, H3, and you got tangled up in that in the past.
I think that's what he's talking about.
Yeah,
That's probably what.
Well, we all got tangled up in that.
Well, I'm just saying, at the time, there was a recognized map with recognized boundaries on it, and that's what everybody went by. Then, I guess it was Brenda found some reading or verbiage that contradicted the map that was the recognized standard, and then that boundary was expanded.
The boundary was expanded when the National Register nomination was approved. That boundary established in the National Register District expanded it. And the map was in the 1997 comprehensive plan.
Brenda, I think you know what I'm talking about. I think you've had enough arguments with Jimmy Jones to know that there was an established boundary that the city used prior to your coming into your position. And I'm just asking, was that decision to change that recognized boundary, was that done through the ordinance process?
The decision to enforce the ordinance?
No, he's saying that the actual footprint, the outline is that.
When I came on board, it was not my choosing, it was my responsibility to enforce the ordinance.
Correct.
That's what I did.
I understand that. But the footprint, the recognized and established footprint.
The established by ordinance.
Prior to you coming, did not go beyond Seraphim.
And that'd be Sandy Kohler.
Pardon?
Sandy Kohler?
Sandy Kohler, yes.
Is it possible she interpreted what was there wrong? I mean, is it possible that she didn't have the right boundary?
I don't know.
Could
I
we,
just
could we,
know
could we
when
just
we-
take a map and figure this out and mark it up and
We've
and
done
give it
that.
to you?
I have
When we bought a house.
I have a map here that shows
Okay.
H1 going up Seraphim like he's stating, and it shows his house a few lots away from this boundary here.
Is that,
Puts you in H3.
well, I mean, is that the lost map?
It's not dated. It says Historical District
No.
St. John. Is this the map we're going by now, Brenda? That George Weiner supplied?
You just got the H1, H2, and H3
Yes,
on it?
yes.
Probably.
Okay.
But don't pay attention to the pink highlighter.
No.
Because-
That's the line under.
Okay.
Because the H2, the H1 and the H2 together make up the historic district.
Right.
Yeah.
This property is not in this map.
You're saying you were falsely put in.
Well, then that's not right.
I'm just saying, we went.
Yeah.
This is the map he's talking about.
Oh,
So who made that map? Who made that map?
I don't know.
Oh.
Because if you look at the meets and bounds, it clearly goes down here.
Well, he's.
Mr. Shrepp, I think what we're seeing on the map is
Yeah.
whoever drew this map, drew the map incorrectly, is what.
Drew the highlighter incorrect.
No.
No, the actual map is drawn
There's a line under
incorrectly.
the highlighter. It's H.
Yeah, the highlighter goes
H2.
according with the boundary.
Yeah, there's no name on that map, so we don't know who did the map.
But we received a map from Brenda that's not drawn like this. I don't have my book with me.
According to this.
We had maps.
These are non-historic.
We had maps.
In fact, we're having SEMA Regional Planning do the map online for us, for the GIS program. And he's taken the meets and bounds descriptions off
Yeah,
of
that's
the
the city
nominations
That
themselves.
legend is wrong.
There's something, I mean,
George.
There you go, George.
I did. Did you get that from John Stewart?
Okay, so it looks like to answer your question, that whoever drew the map incorrectly. Is that what it looks like?
Or wrote the legend incorrectly.
Or wrote the legend incorrectly on the bottom? They made a mistake on the map.
Yeah.
So there's H1, H2, H3.
That's all historic district.
Right, on that map, it's
Different
shown as
levels
non-historic,
of
it was a mistake.
strictness. Is that how that works?
but the design
No.
guidelines
Design guidelines.
do not apply in H3.
Three. And you
But
feel like
it
they
has-
were applied to you?
Well, I'm just saying,
He wants
I'm
to
just
know.
saying, we bought a house,
That map is not an accurate reflection of what the ordinance provides. If you do a meets and bounds description and draw it, that map is not accurate.
And as far as levels of strictness, when you have these overlays of 1, 2, 3, and so forth, has nothing to do with that. It has to do with when, since 1939, I believe it was, and 2012, the federal government added some space. And that was a long time ago. That's where the H2 came from. And that was 50 years ago.
But it, again, appears, when it was memorialized in that map,
Right.
it was not accurate.
Right. So it has, it's not saying that this is more or
More
less,
strict, it's just
more or
a
less
different-
significant, more or less historically important. It's just, that was 1939, this is looking at it again in 1960, or whatever year it was, I can't tell you, but.
I mean, you know, you sit here and you talk about trying to be fair and talking about clarity and everything. We bought a house, we were not in the district, by the people in charge of City Hall. We came down here, we built an addition on the back of the house, we built a garage. We got the necessary permits. Was told by Sandy and Jimmy Jones, we're
Which
not
aren't
in
here
the
now,
district.
which aren't members of this now. Jimmy's in the building inspector, but he's not on Landmarks.
I don't care, neither is Sandy Kohler.
Well, that's who
I'm
you're
just-
addressing.
I'm stating a fact.
Right, but you're addressing us now. This was
You're
10
right,
years ago.
I'm addressing you now.
And we just agreed
And I'm
with you
trying
that
to
the map
address
is.
some of the problems that you people will have to face from the community.
Right, but we are learning to take each house individual, and we have our own maps and that, and we agreed with you that that map is wrong, and we just brought to our attention.
Well, I mean, if you wanna argue, I mean,
No, I'm not arguing.
we can sit here and we talk about,
No,
you know,
I'm not
treating
arguing.
things fairly and by the book. You were willing to approve people putting a shed in their backyard today, change the front to make it look like wood, even though the buildings were made of metal,
Which Mr. Maher brought
contrary
up.
to your book.
Which Mr. Meyer brought up, yeah, not appropriate, that's,
Well, that's right, but you're willing to do it, so you're bending there. You know.
we're not bending, we're not bending the boundary
In one
line.
vein, you people are saying, we go by the book, we go by the book. But then here's an individual comes up, and you're saying, okay, fine,
Well, that was
take
tabled.
take the front metal off and put up wood.
That's tabled, we
Hey,
didn't
Mr.
say
Sharp,
it was fine.
so what happened, when you built the addition, I don't know, I wasn't here, and so what happened? Did you have a problem with landmarks then, or?
No, he didn't.
I'm
He
just-
wasn't subjected to landmark because
Oh, okay,
the staff was treating it as being outside the boundaries.
okay.
You know, we got permits, we did everything. We put windows in a house that I understand wouldn't even be approved now.
Was it true though, Nate, it'd still be case by, what year is your house?
Pardon?
What year was your house built?
1904.
1904, okay. I mean, it should be case by case on the house, I mean,
Well, except it was outside
It
the
was
boundary line
outside
that was
the
being
accepted
used to
and
determine whether a
recognized
certificate of
boundaries.
appropriateness was necessary.
but it looks like the boundaries were wrong, correct? So that's what happened, is the map was wrong. It doesn't alter the reality that it was there, it just, no one saw it as there.
Well, I'm just stating a fact here that,
No, I believe you, I mean, we just saw the map, so I mean, I believe you.
That map was wrong.
The map, whoever did the map screwed the map up.
okay, that's all I got.
Okay. All right, thank you. Is there any other discussion? Otherwise, is there a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Is there a second?
Second.
All right, all in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? All right, we are adjourned for tonight.